Oh, God help us all. So,
Oh boy.
thank you everyone for joining us on yet another OPN Should We Cover It show, the show where we do all the heavy lifting. We go through the best and the worst, mostly the worst, trailers that Steam has to offer through Steam Greenlight, alphas, betas, Kickstarters, and we wrap it all up with a nice, pretty bow of a AAA release at the end of the show. I am unfortunately your host. I think we're live. Steven. I also troll on Steam as Slave to Machine. I am joined today by two of the wingmen to my flight TWA 400. The first one down in the corner there is the Grand High Poobah, the president, the reason we're all here, and slightly drunk, Fred Breezy.
Wow.
Fred, how are you doing today? Also, I should mention that the opinions and views expressed by Fred on this show do not necessarily represent those of OPN LLC. Fred, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Good. That also is not necessarily what we believe. So.
I decided I was going to be quiet tonight, like the quiet type. You know, the one at the end of the corner of the room.
Talking. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
right?
the one that like, come on, say something, man. Say something.
That just shows us that there's going to be nothing but problems. The next person, the guy that hates Nintendo the most on the call, the VP of a whole bunch of stuff that we don't even know all the titles yet, Chris Kellogg. Chris,
yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. But I don't hate Nintendo. You know, I love Nintendo. And that hurts me when you say that just a little bit.
I know. But you just got done with PAX East, you bastard.
Yes, I know. And you should be jealous, rightfully. So thank you for having me.
And we had a couple of interviews just this past weekend of a bunch of people. Did we not? And were those some of the people that you found at PAX East?
I'm surprised you even know about it, Steven, since you didn't bother to show up.
I actually
as head of the Twitch department.
No. He's gonna be there this weekend. Don't you worry.
I was actually watching all the interviews, and my God, Fred, I had to put so many subtitles on your interview. Not because of the dev, but because of you.
Can I just highlight the fact that the very reason you came back to OP Noobs was because you saw an interview with me and you thought, my God, they need help.
I will admit, after my 2 or 3 month hiatus, I did watch an interview with Fred. I forget which one it was because I was too busy crying into my whiskey. And I saw it and I'm like, my God, no one can understand what he's saying. So there is that. So speaking of people that we can't understand, we have a Brit on the show now, apparently.
Oh, God.
One of the recent acquisitions, right? One of the recent acquisitions, the Frenchman has a problem with the Brit. Who knew? Raylak, who came to us from the E4I tournament of Red Solstice, he contacted us, and apparently, for some reason, he decided to join this happy bunch of crazies. Raylak, why?
I saw a Frenchman over here. I had to come take his wand.
I think that's all I need to know for that.
One of true story actually. One of the first thing a Brit told me when I met a Brit in my life as a Frenchman, I was still in Paris. He told me, you know why?
This is a fellow named Paris that's actually on the staff, by the way. He's not just talking.
Yeah. Wait, so Fred was in Paris when you spoke to a Brit?
No, that is a different.
No, I was a kid. I was like, I was 8 years old.
Oh, this is getting even worse now.
Oh yeah. I was in Paris and I met this British kid, and he tells me, you know what the first station that you land on when you arrive in the UK from France is? I said, no, I don't know. He said, Waterloo. And Waterloo is because that's where Napoleon Bonaparte from France could never defeat the Brits. Like, he got his ass, I think, served on a plate twice. And that, I feel like, really highlights the relationship that the French and the Brits have. But I feel like because we're on American soil, the soil of the new, the soil of the refreshed, the one that does away with the old European ways, Raylak and I actually have a chance to have a healthy relationship. And so I'm going to be the mature one. I don't see
no American soil.
See, I don't think any healthy relationship requires that much introduction.
It really doesn't. It's almost like you're begging for. Anyway, we're going to move on that one. And let's just clarify. Obviously, Fred was in Paris, the city, when he was 8.
Oh, so it wasn't him as a child in Paris, the child speaking to another British child?
That is correct, sir.
Wait, that's what happened?
So horrible.
And before we get ourselves even closer to the Banhammer, I'm going to move on to the next couple of new faces. Oh, God. Before I get to the new faces, let's get to two old ones. AJ Malardi coming to us live from the next door of Chris.
And sorry to interrupt, Michael, mute your microphone if you're typing because
Yes.
everybody can hear it in the chat.
Oh, my apologies.
Yes.
No problem.
Thank you, thank you. So, AJ, it's been a while since we saw you last. I'm glad that you got out of the basement. I really am.
I'm still not out of my apartment, though.
That is understandable. That is yeah, this is the silent Fred, folks, by the way. This is silent version. So the next person who we haven't seen on the show for a while, who has a fancy new mic, if he remembers to take himself off mute, Eli, the man with
I'm not on mute.
You're not on mute now.
No. Well, hello, Stephen. Yes, I am here, and I am the man with the beard. Or
Yes.
for whatever reason, you guys calling me the dwarf tonight. Which, if you see me in person, you'll know I'm not a dwarf. I'm
So
actually
Viking.
pretty tall.
But that beard.
Yes, Viking would be
Tall
better.
dwarf.
I like.
We'll go with Viking. Let's stick
One
with
of the
Viking.
taller dwarves.
I like Viking.
No, I just say
Well-
tall dwarf.
Eli was a big fan of Jotun, if I remember when we did that interview, but that's
Was I?
yeah, I think so. And you can
I-
find that all on the site at opnoobs.com, or if you're so inclined, you
Which
can check
I
us out on
have a link.
YouTube. We have a link down in the chat. Somebody throw that in the chat, please. We have some new faces today. Tyler, you have seen already before. We're not really sure what he does, but yeah. How you doing, Tyler? How's things?
I'm doing all right, Steven. I'm happy to be on the show and everything. A wasp flew into my house earlier, and I haven't seen it in a while, and I'm kind of freaked out. So I'm happy to be on
Sounds
the
like
show,
a
but
hostage video.
I'm living in constant terror.
This is unfortunately his last video.
We can only pray that he is rescued from this torment.
This is going to
Time
end up
before
like
the night
Blair
is
Witch
over.
real
In
soon.
the middle of a review, he's going to get attacked. This is going to be hilarious.
Well, I figure if someone's going to get black bagged, we might as well throw Tyler out there, you know? But
I
anyway,
prefer
we're
the
gonna...
basement to this wasp trap. I'll take the basement gladly.
Oh, so you don't want the bees? Are you
No,
sure you
no,
don't
no,
want...
no. I much prefer the basement to the bees. The bees suck.
That's
well,
fine.
we did install the new wasp hive just above the basement.
Above the
This is
basement.
entirely true. So,
Oh,
this is a great way to start off for the new people, isn't it? So, the newest people on this crazy excursion.
What have
Thomas Riccardi. Hey,
Hey guys.
hey. So, how did you stumble across us? Did Fred just beg for you to join the team, or what brought you here in the first place?
I don't know. Somebody just dragged me and just put me in this chair and said, "Here, be on this show. Help me."
That's fair. That's how I got here. Eventually, the Stockholm Syndrome will set in. It's okay. You'll be okay. And then finally, last but not least, the man that I'm going to try my damnedest to not make an Aussie joke all this show,
Guys,
Mr. Michael Crowley.
Hello.
Hello. Sounded like old Dr. Watson from Windows 95. I'm old. Hi.
Hello. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing fine. Why
Excellent.
are you here?
I stumbled in, you know.
That's fair.
You decided to keep me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
So as
Straight.
all of you can possibly tell by now, first off, none of us have had any alcohol today. Secondly, we do take ourselves very seriously here because gaming is
course.
serious business. So
let me interrupt you 1 second.
no,
See, that's the
That
professional.
there
thing.
is a Windows 95 PC. That has Windows 95 on
is
it
that a
right now.
Packer Bell?
Why do
That has-
you even have that?
For
Because
Doom.
I use it to play
It's a-
ancient games like
Because
Corsairs
why-
and Skullcaps.
Because not everybody wants to use DOSBox for everything.
I guess
No,
not.
Indeed.
I have 4
can't you just,
extra
why-
PCs for some reason. I don't even know where they came from. They just appeared.
Original Total Annihilation plays a lot better on Windows 95.
Yeah, but
See?
nothing else plays better on Windows 95 is the
Oh,
problem.
there are other games. That was just my
Windows
favorite.
95 doesn't even play better on
That's
Windows.
fair, but 95 didn't even do well on 95 is the problem.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
Claude
you.
said.
I think we've got a giveaway happening too, Steven.
I hope so, because otherwise, why are people here? It's not to see our lovely.
I heard
faces.
we also have a bunch of games to talk about, but that's just like a rumor or myth.
You know, it happens every once in a while. Someone throws us a list. So, what is the point of this show other than to drunkenly, not drunkenly talk like we're drunk. So essentially the whole point of this is there's a lot of good things that are released on Steam, and there's a lot of not so good things released on Steam. Instead of you having to throw your money at these games, and instead of having to just guess, is the trailer really good? Because we see a lot of trailers that are good and the game... So what we basically do is we go through the trailers of games that are releasing or have been released and whatnot, and we show them here on the on the channel, and then we talk about each of them, and we just try to get people's opinions on them, and then you guys in the chat and everybody on the call here, we get to dictate what actually goes on the site. If you go to the site by clicking that link that was posted a little while ago, opnoobs.com, you probably know how to use a browser by now. Go to opnoobs.com, and everything you see on the site is curated and written by not only the people on this call, but a team on crack of writers that are constantly, tirelessly working to build the best possible independent review board that we can possibly do. We are not bought and sold by any developer. We spend all of our free time doing this because we want to see good games. We want to see them flourish. We don't want to see the crap anymore. So essentially what we do is we go just based on the trailer, and we do all the work for you, so you don't have to go through the Steam refund process. So with that in mind, we're going to get right to it. Stylo, please, God help us, put the first trailer up. The first game is called The Way. And Raylak, if you could be so kind to hopefully have the spreadsheet open, read the game description, and Chris, if you could, please read about the studio background.
Can do.
Awesome. So, the first game is The Way.
The Way is a 2D puzzle platformer game inspired by classic titles like Another World, Heart of Darkness, and Flashback. It tells a story about a member of Space Explorers team who lost his beloved one and cannot accept her death. Finding ancient writings on eternal existence during one of his last expeditions makes him come back in search of the meaning of life itself.
And all we got for the studio background is developed by Puzzling Dream. So the developer is Puzzling Dream.
That's puzzling. Okay, so based upon the trailer, it's everything that the description pretty much says it is. I'm getting serious Another World flashbacks, out of this world flashbacks. I'm getting a lot of flashbacks. I loved the heck out of Flashback way back on PC and even on Sega Genesis. So, thoughts? Anybody have thoughts? Kellogg, how do you feel about what we're seeing here?
Well, I mean, it seems like it's got like some decent platform action elements. I'm really interested also in some of the puzzles that look pretty cool, and the style overall is pretty sweet. It kind of leaves a little to wonder about the quality of the story. It's hard to say. But overall, I think that I might enjoy this game. I think it could be pretty cool.
Is this immediately jumping out to anybody? I know there are a couple of retro gamers on the call right now. There's a couple in the chat. Is this kind of giving you a flashback to those games? I hate to keep using the phrase. Or Raylak, since you have the oldest computer here, do you have any thoughts of what we're seeing?
I play stuff where I shoot stuff. I saw the guy die a couple of times. That was the most interesting part I've seen so far. He did get chased through the dark part, and I don't know what that alien did to him, but I don't think it was very nice.
That's actually pretty fair. I will say that from the trailer alone, it is. Do you think it's trying to bank on the nostalgia a little bit too hard? Or is this actually presenting us anything new or anything interesting? Tyler?
I have my concerns about the story. At least judging from the trailer, it seems to be selling itself on the story. And that's going to be hard to do, I feel like, just from the trailer, because if the second most important character is already dead, then if the important mission of the game is to revive this dead person, if we can't get invested in why we want this person to be alive, then that's going to be difficult for me to want to do the other fun aspects of the game. What I do kind of like, though, is that it kind of seems like the entire game is positioning itself as an escort mission, except your escort person is already dead, so that they can't get themselves killed like an idiot. I kind of like that idea.
That is kind of jumping ahead a little bit, I think. And wouldn't it be better if most escort missions already had a corpse that you're dragging along?
I could just drag corpses. I'd be so
It
happy.
could
It'd be just
be-
like my other job.
It could be the Hitman corpse drag, where you're just pulling it along by like its pant leg.
You could weaponize it.
Thomas,
I would
you're fairly new to this whole debacle. Is this the kind of game that you might have played a while back, or no? What,
Back
I'm trying to say
Wait.
it's old.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I played Out of This World on an old PC. I mean, that's what this looks like. It's the same vibe. And that game was incredibly frustrating because if you didn't get the puzzles right the first time, you had to do it again and again. Nah, I don't think I would play this.
Okay. Michael?
It looks really nice. I dig the art style in it. That much is as much as I can say about it. It doesn't really look particularly interesting as far as the gameplay itself. But it looks nice. I can give them that at least.
That's fair. I always enjoyed these kind of games because there was no HUD to get in the way. You had a very Spartan amount of controls, and you basically just had the ability to. It was the ability to get killed very rapidly, with just one mistake or one pixel off in a jump, and you're dead. And they had to rub it in by making sure that you fell about 6 screens south. Just so that you could watch yourself in free fall before you actually hit the ground. So I'm hoping it's actually this kind of thing.
And the art direction's amazing. I mean, I really.
That's
love
what I was
the
gonna
background.
say.
Yeah.
And it's not just the art direction. It's what surprised me in this trailer is the fact that at first I was completely unsold on it. And then I realized that every clip the trailer showed, the trailer is actually really well put together. Kind of brings a completely different element of the game to perspective. Like it's a very deep and fuller game. And there seems to be a lot to it actually. So you didn't ask me, but I'm all for it.
Well, I want you to weigh in on this. I mean, at the very least, it's not
I
necessarily
interrupted
your
Chris.
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
thing, right?
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, that's no. I agree with all of that. I mean, this game just looks beautiful, and I love the art direction. It's the gameplay looks a little. I don't know. It's one of those things where you got to try it before you can really know. But if it's if it has even decent gameplay, this would be probably enjoyable for me.
But the gameplay looks very diversified.
Yeah. No,
So
Fred,
there's some production behind this. It's not just your 2D scroller type of thing.
Yeah, and as you can see from the trailer, it is on Kickstarter. So if you want to kick them a little money, you probably can. But Fred, my experience with playing games similar to this was Flashback on Sega Genesis. I knew you were a Genesis kid. Had you ever gotten a chance to play a game like this, Prince of Persia?
I spent way too much time on Alex Kidd.
On Alex Kidd, that's fair. So before we spend too much time on this, great segue, we are going to move on to the next one. The next one is Age of Barbarian Extended Cut. So,
But this one is a yes or a no?
Well, we're not really sure yet. Let's get some opinions down the chat, and we'll just tally up the votes, and we'll give a tally. We'll just do a synopsis of everything that we said yes to and what we said no to. And maybe the stuff we say no to might get another life in some other way. But let's move on. Age of Barbarian Extended Cut.
Age of Barbarian Extended Cut is an action hack and slash game inspired to 80s. Okay. Fantasy and sword and sorcery genre. Muscular barbarians, succinct girls. I probably read that wrong, but hordes of bloodthirsty
No, it does say
monsters.
distinct girls.
Yep,
yes.
I thought so. A lot of gore, a pretty epic story, and an addictive soundtrack. What's best in life? Apparently, succinct girls.
Yeah, distinct girls.
Is that a different way for saying just easy or quick girls?
I think it means they don't argue as much or talk.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got with it.
Just get right to the point.
Type of thing. That's fair. So
I think as Raylac learned, game descriptions can be as uneven as the gameplay themselves. So
indeed.
yes. So this is by
hello.
Cryansoft. Cryansoft is a new dynamic software house founded in 2009. Cryansoft designs, develops, and publishes original, didactic, and interactive environment software for PC and compatible systems. Yes, Cryansoft. Not to be mistaken for Crytek.
I don't think that's going to happen. But original interactive entertainment software, I think that's my favorite description of the entire show so far. So before we got started, I was saying about the Jaguar, the Atari Jaguar, and wow, I'm seeing.
Yeah, you're losing your focus here, Steven.
No, I find.
Are you saying the same thing I'm saying? Because I'm losing my focus.
It's just chop someone's dick off.
I feel like we're
Right
getting we're getting old console games.
Yeah, all I'm saying is
This is like the skimpy outfit version of Play Fighter.
Steven is finding it difficult to host the show.
I'm finding it difficult because there's two things. One, it looks a lot like the old Atari Jaguar game. I remember an old fighting game. If somebody can help me on this, I think it was Bloody
Kasumi Ninja.
Kasumi Ninja. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Was that also
thank you,
taken
Beard.
wrong?
Yes, it actually was. You had a fighting character that, I kid you not, was a Scotsman that pissed fire.
No, he didn't just piss
Cut the
fire.
dick off
He
that
would
monkey.
he would pick his kilt up and go and shoot a fireball from his nads.
How much of an only kid
You know,
word, Steven?
This is just kind of like, it reminds me of Ark. Remember, like, right at the beginning, there's just, like, a bunch of female characters running around in skimpy outfits in Ark. This kind of just, like, cracks me up.
That's
in this
all of Ark. What are you talking about?
Dude, let's be honest. Ark Survival is more like actual survival. They just, the TV show, reality series.
That's fair.
But it looks cool, though. This game looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
Thomas?
really agreed
it looks
to.
like Play Fighter with skimpy
it's-
outfits.
This is like flashback week. I mean, first we had
Yeah.
that first game. Now we have this. I played this on the Commodore 64 for crying out loud.
I don't know about this kind of graphical quality on the Commodore 64, though.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
But they would have put in those FMV things, the full motion video where people would have been running around in scantily clad outfits. They had that kind of shit going on.
You leave the Sega CD alone, sir. Mike, what are your thoughts on what we're seeing here? And can we even show this on Twitch? Can someone check the TOS, please?
They are technically covered up.
Thank you.
They aren't
This
actually
is awesome.
naked.
We have to cover this, by the way.
I mean,
I think somebody has to cover it, sure.
they also have, like, dinosaurs shooting lasers. I mean, this is over the top in a lot of ways. It's almost like an X-rated Turok.
I think
I feel like it has that Castlevania.
It's even
feel.
got that tentacle going after the girl.
right. So we've got all things coming together. So I can see where it's inspired by the 80s for certain, because I think this was heavy metal. The director's cut is what we're watching, basically.
That had
just-
aliens and stuff.
Makes a lot
There's
of sense.
tentacles. That's close, right? Anyway, so the trailer. Let's focus on the trailer now.
Oh,
What
we
can
are.
you say?
There's a lot on the trailer.
No,
What can you
seriously, this
say
looks
about
awesome. This looks
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
I know we agreed
It's
not
awful.
to.
Yeah.
I know we
Tyler?
agreed not to describe
great.
game trailers as crap, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this one cancer. This
Okay.
gives me
Oh,
cancer.
after
Wow.
whoa,
It makes
whoa,
me
whoa.
sad.
So
yeah, you should be sad. This is great. I'm such a
see-
big fan of this.
we see a lot of trailers that are nothing but pre-made cinematics, and I think that is the last thing that we can say about this trailer. This is obviously gameplay footage,
Yeah.
nothing but, basically. So the question is, why is it cancer, and why did you pick cancer?
Because I thought of the Spider-Man meme, which isn't necessarily a good thing. And secondly, we already highlighted how they've really gone overboard with the not even having boob armor on the females. Maybe there's an element of nostalgia that I am not tapping into because I'm not that old. But it's this game just makes me go, oh wow, the animation doesn't look fantastic. He's walking and his torso's not moving at all; just the legs are moving. Everything screaming like half done to me. Perhaps I'm missing something. However, I am kind of
think
excited
you are.
because
I think you are.
I
mean,
please tell
this
me what
is-
I'm missing then, because I feel like I probably am missing something here.
Yeah,
About
I
10
think,
years.
Okay, so there's some games that are going to appeal to you visually, like in as far as animation goes, big budgets, all that, right? And then there's some games that are just a call for the ancient and kind of like some of the games that we used to play as kids. And I'm not, I don't even play these types of games. But when I look at these type of trailers and just first of all, there are some real artists that kind of did the screen art and all that and all the work that went to it. Like these guys are talented folks. And then when they apply their talent into game mechanics, it's cool. It's got some pretty it feels rhythmical. I could get into the action of something basic like that. You fight King Kong, get into the caves. And it's it's no. I think this is you're looking at $10. Probably not going to spend more than $10, $15 to at the most on Steam. It's cool. I support that. It's original. To me, it feels original.
Well, I
I hope it's a good game. I probably will not be playing it, but I do hope that it's a good game.
Well, I will just give you a heads up that on the store page, on the community page on Steam, because we have to always check that, because it's a bastion of honesty. The first comment at the top is, which is better, this or Witcher 3?
Yeah, well,
Of
course.
Hard choice.
That's a stupid comment, Bo.
I'd go with this.
This has more nudity.
Comment's stupid. Yeah.
I don't know about this having more nudity, Raylak. I think you might have to play a little bit more.
Who needs nudity? It reminds me of Clay Fighter. That makes it better instantly.
I can't argue with that.
Fair.
So everybody in the
It's
chat,
like a
come
nude
on,
mod.
just go ahead and decide. Yeah, the Nude Raider mod? No. Let's go ahead and decide in the chat. We're going to move on to the next one. And we'll either be revisiting this or, God willing, we'll get an interview. I'm interested in it, personally. The next game is... okay. So, Koahime Enbu. I am so sorry. Eli, you are the brilliant man with pronunciations. Please. Can you?
Koihime Enbu is a ground fighting game. Is a ground-based fighting game. If I could talk, anyone can enjoy it, from a beginner to a skilled fighting game veteran. Fighting game veterans will relish the tight controls and fast combat, providing the possibility for huge combos and devastating counters. Explore the fatal counter system that creates additional combo opportunities. With almost every attack being punishable, Koihime Enbu strives to provide a cleaner and more precise fighting experience. And we like saying combo and counter a lot.
We do like combos, don't we? Can you tell us about the developer, Chris?
I can. Developed by M2 Co. Limited, it says, as we try to understand what is fun in video games, we aim to consistently offer the essence of fun in this ever-changing world and enrich players' lives through the form of entertainment. It's very noble. It's a very noble description.
It is. So, there's a rule that apparently we have to have at least one anime game per show. Why did it have to be this one? Chris?
Well, I don't know if this is like as typical, at least, as some of the other anime games we see, right? I feel like a lot of those anime games tend to be like novels or
Dating
generally gameplay light. This looks like a straight fighting game. And from what I can see, the action actually looks pretty sweet, and kind of looks like it's a nice change, like in pacing from a lot of the other. I don't know, like when we were watching, I can't remember what it was. If it was a Guilty Gear game, might have been, or maybe
Guilty
yeah, we've
Gear.
seen a lot of Guilty Gear games recently, I think. But I felt like this looks a little more streamlined and polished, whereas that one had this kind of strange polygonal anime style. This has like a more straight anime style, which I just like better for like side-scroller games when they don't try to go too 3D. And if what they say in the description is true, is that they actually have like punishable tactics, and there's probably going to be a little bit like Soul Calibur, which would be awesome.
I feel like there's some serious quality going on here, which, again, not to knock any of the other games, there's some serious quality going on just in this. And if you go to the actual Steam page for it, there's a lot of quality just in the screenshots as well. There are a couple of screenshots of in-game footage, screenshot, but still, it is your standard issue 2D fighting game with, it looks like a little bit of a plot. I don't know how much of a plot, but again, we're going by the trailer. Is there anything in this other than the animation itself that really shows that it will be a good fighting game, that on par with like Guilty Gear or BlazBlue even?
Well, I mean, I'll just say this reminds me of those fighting games you played when you went to like the bowling alley as a kid. You had like the joysticks and everything. It does look very smooth and polished. I really wish they showed a little more of the gameplay. In the trailer, they seemed obsessed with introducing the characters, which, yay. But, yeah, I mean, those fighting moves look good. I mean, at worst, I don't think it would be bad. I mean, I think it looks pretty solid and polished. So, and I'm usually pretty biased against, like, anime stuff. Usually when I see that, I'm like, eh. But this actually looks pretty decent to me. I would be willing to give it a shot.
Okay, that's fair. Raylac, is this something that you might be interested in? Ever?
I love the artwork on it. It's really well done for an anime. I mean, you see quite a lot of games going for the anime feel, but they tend to cheap out on the artwork. And this game hasn't. This has gone quite well into it. Well, particularly for the cutscenes, but during the cutscene, you can see some little in-game video, which actually is reasonably good quality, I think. I'm pretty terrible at stuff like Street Fighter, so I probably wouldn't play it, but I'd had fun watching people play it.
Okay.
And, anime girls.
Of course, I think that might be the reason why it sells in a lot of cases. Although the look of it just kind of looks like your standard anime girl a little bit. Mr. Crowley,
Hello.
I'm not going to do it. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing here? Standard fighting game. Do you play a lot of fighting games?
I've tried, certainly, but I am not good at them whatsoever. I try to shy away from them as much as I can because of that. But I certainly see what everyone's saying. It just looks like the most generic game I've seen thus far tonight. As far as the art style, they're not really breaking in any new anime grounds. As far as the fighting mechanics, from what we can see from the trailer, it really doesn't look like they're trying anything new. It looks like your standard thing, fans of the genre type game.
Eli, as the only person that could pronounce the title.
So I've always been really big on fighting games. Like, haven't gotten to play them as much in recent years, but I've always enjoyed the hell out of them. So personally, I feel like I'd like to see it covered, even if it's just to say if it sucks compared to other fighting games. It doesn't look original. It reminds me a lot of Skullgirls, but with less personality. But I'd still like to see how it stacks up. That was in 3D, though.
That's true.
But I'd still like to see how it stacks up.
Okay. I see what you did. Thomas,
Sure.
do you have a thought on this one?
It looks like it's a polished game, to be honest, but it does look like a standard fighting game just with girls. That's all it is to me. I've played a lot of fighting games. I played like Killer Instinct, most of Samurai Showdown series, most of Street Fighter series, and this just looks like a typical anime fighting game. There doesn't seem to be any depth to it at all.
That's fair. And as our intrepid audio video guy just mentioned in the chat, this is done by the same guys that did Skullgirl, so the comparisons are pretty apt. And we know that they can do a solid fighting game. But as has been said by Fred on previous shows, and I am inclined to agree, I don't like a trailer that is nothing more than jump cut, jump cut, jump cut, flash, flash, flash. Give us more information about the gameplay. I mean, yes, it's a fighting game. We know what those look like, but it's still a really good option.
And I feel like all the comments were really I second pretty much what everybody said, but I would say it's a shame they did that because the actual gameplay looks just as tasty as the actual the actual artwork and animation. So it's I don't know why they went that way.
That's fair. That's fair. So we're gonna move on to the next
I have one question first.
Answer question.
How much depth do you want in story from a fighting game? Your job is to kill the other person by beating them to death.
That's true too.
Yes.
Actually,
Surely you just go and beat them to death. I mean,
This
you
is
get
true.
your depth from Street Fighter because it's been around for longer than I have.
I don't think there's any depth to Street
That's
Fighter.
not true. There's some
Yeah, but
very deep fighting games,
No, but
this might not be one of them, but I'm just saying there.
Yeah, but
there are a lot
I
of
think
really-
Raylak's point is well taken. Though the actual trailer that sells the product should highlight a lot more gameplay because it's a fighting game. I think there's a
that's-
good reasoning there.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody actually picks up a fighting game for the story.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the reason why Dead or Alive is popular. I don't think that's the reason why Soul Calibur is popular. I certainly don't think that's the reason why Mortal Kombat is popular, as convoluted as that plotline's got.
That's because 99% of the time you're spending your time away from the story. So why show the story?
Exactly. So we're going to move on, but in 2 more trailers, we're going to have a giveaway. What are we giving away? We don't know. It's going to be a game key, but we don't know the game. So totally, it's awesome. We really don't know the game. Hint, hint. So
Hint,
stick
hint.
around for that. So we're going to move on to the next one. The next game is Mimic Arena. Raylak.
Mimic Arena is a local couch multiplayer platform shooter that focuses on high energy and quick reflexes. Up to 4 buddies are pitted against one another, if you have that many, but only those who have mastered the arts of jump
We're out.
and shoot dare to hope to stand a chance. Thankfully, you will have some backup. Everything the player does, wherever they go and wherever they fire, is recorded, and then played back again as a mimic. These clones will be an integrate part of any player's arsenal. Another great game description. Providing distractions and supporting fire for new players, and enabling more advanced strategy, such as zoning and coordinated attacks for veterans.
Chris?
All right, developed by Tiny Horse Games, a 3-person studio. Tyler Edwards, who's the programmer and designer, has always wanted to develop games as long as he can remember and doesn't plan to change that anytime soon. Hagen DeLoss, artist, is passionate about telling evocative stories, whether through game, illustration, or comic book medium. Megan McDuffie, music composer, the epiphany to write music for her for film and video games came about from her passion for film, games, and music, and she brings this passion to each and every project.
So I just want to say that when we do take all the list of the games and we get a list of the trailers and we get a list of the descriptions, we wholesale copy them from the Steam pages in many cases. That often means that there are some typos as well in some cases. So we bring you all the reality.
Yeah, we do the best we can to work around their horrible, often completely poorly translated language.
So speaking of poorly translated languages, Fred, haven't we seen this stuff before?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna comment. I thumbed this one down and I move on.
Okay, that's fair enough. So for the rest of us that want to join the conversation, we have seen this before, Chris, haven't we? I mean, you've been on several of these shows already. Haven't we seen a number of arena, top-down, super neon-style shooters? Is there anything in the trailer that actually sets this apart from anything else?
Not for me particularly. I just note the style of the trailer stopped looping. But yeah, from what I saw,
that's not the trailer, guys. It's not a blank screen.
Yes, no, it's not just a black game about darkness. That game's been made.
Yeah, that was the Blind Night one we actually did on this show a couple of weeks back.
That's right. But the neon bouncy thing's been done before. It's another puzzle type game. It really kind of depends on the kind of gameplay you're looking for. I mean, I'm not going to say this is overall a bad game. It actually looks like it could have some really addictive multiplayer sort of arena-style combat. And I could see myself probably really enjoying this game. But this is one of those games where you kind of pick it up and you put it down probably within an hour or two. And at best, it's a game that feels familiar. And at worst, you're just kind of confused by all the colors. So I'd say that, I don't think this is worth our time to cover because there's just, a lot of games like this. And why cover this one and not all of them? We're not, into covering mobile game, basically PC sort of clones. So, yeah, sorry. I agree with Fred. Not worth our time.
No, I think that's fair. I wonder if it should have maybe an epilepsy warning at the beginning of it, too, because it's definitely friggin' 80s. Just like the Barbarian game.
Style there.
80s called. They want their game back.
Yeah. Tyler?
They want their Tron back.
I think it might be fun. It's reminding me a lot of Rocket Fist from last week, except Rocket Fist had, I think, better aesthetics, and when I saw the gameplay of Rocket Fist, I could tell what was going on, despite all the chaos. When I look at this, even when there's not that much going on, I'm very confused as to what everything is doing. I would say we do more of the Rocket Fist kind of games and a bit less kind of these games.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
Wall jumping, man. That seems to be I know wall jumping's been around for a long time, but it seems to be a huge fad right now. Every game I played, every other game at IndieCade had wall jumping. And I'm seeing more wall jumping here. So,
it's the new crafting system.
Yeah,
Thomas,
true.
Get Thomas to comment because he's got something to say.
You have to wall jump to activate your crafting table.
Yeah,
That's
this
an
is
interesting idea. Thomas, go.
this is just I can't even look at this. This looks like it was done on a Spectrum ZX81 for crying out loud. This looks like it was done on an old computer. I know everybody is getting into the retro stuff, but good God, I can't even figure out what the heck's going on half the time. No, just no.
We're seeing a lot of 80s style themed games, and I wonder if that's because of Hotline Miami way back when. And I sometimes wonder if that's the new World War II, if that's the new gimmick that everyone's hooking to. It's the new zombies, when zombies aren't even done yet. Michael, are you still with us? Because I don't see a camera. I just hear typing.
Yeah, my
Okay.
camera just kind of cut out. I'm
Fine.
sorry about that.
It's okay, man. So what are your thoughts on this, and then we'll move on.
Well, I think that if the trend is shifting from World War II to the more neon 80s style, I definitely support that because at least it's colorful and not just brown and gray and guns. But this game, I definitely agree, just kind of looks like we've seen it before and we're going to see it again very soon with games like Rocket Fist. It just doesn't seem worth it. I do like the bright colors, but I definitely think it's just kind of not something unique enough worth talking about. It looks pretty, but that's it.
Okay.
Really.
I think that's pretty fair. So we'll move on to the next one called Last Fight. And I'm screaming it because it's in caps. So tell us about Last Fight, please.
Last Fight is bringing 2v2 3D fighting back to your living room. I don't ever remember having that in my living room, but apparently. Pick up any available object in one of the 8 stages and teach your opponents a lesson. Play in local multiplayer mode for up to 4 players or 1-player story mode with a cast of 10 characters inspired by the comic book. Last Man.
All right, and it's developed by Piranha King, and Piranha King is a young and independent at heart Parisian studio. After a few months of work, it's about to give birth to its first mutant baby, Last Fight.
That's why it looks awesome.
Is that why it's on the list, Fred? Come on.
No, it looks awesome. Oh, she's
The
pretty.
French lobby, man, they're getting to us.
Right?
The French have mutant babies.
Seriously, the French are
Yeah.
killer developers.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good French developers that just show up.
They kill game genres.
Every time I see a trailer that's from France, I'm always like, yeah, we're the shit.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you got to have something to fall back. I just want to say one thing that speaking of retro being used as a gimmick or a crutch or something to that effect, am I the only one that when I first heard the description and saw that William S. Sessons FBI don't do drugs on it, was I the only one thinking, are you a bad enough dude? And then it immediately just launches into the game itself.
Yep.
Again, 80s, bright colors and stuff, and it turns out to be like Power Stone for the Dreamcast. So, I don't know. I kind of like it. Chris disappeared, so I'm not going to ask him a thing. Raylak, your thoughts on this?
It seems like they've gotten bored of copying games from the last couple of years, so they've decided to copy games from 20 years ago now. And I've seen this basically same game so many times, and it's never really appealed to me. And yeah, what on earth was the colors?
Fair enough. Tyler? Hey, Chris. Oh, before Tyler. Chris, welcome back.
Am I back? I don't know.
Yes, you're back.
All of a sudden, it was just like, you're not in the call anymore.
How
Okay.
else would I have asked Chris you're back? Chris,
Well,
you're
I
back.
just want to make sure I'm actually back, like on the Twitch channel.
The webcams are so messed up.
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
Yeah.
I totally.
But it's actually funny you mention that because they look fine to me.
Oh no, we're good.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're all set. All right,
Chris,
sorry.
thoughts?
Okay, sorry. Thoughts on? Are we on Last Fight right now? Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I take a look at this and I say, man, that looks pretty sweet. Like that looks like the kind of game I'd really enjoy playing. I'm someone who really enjoys good action brawlers, and that's exactly what this looks like. So I have a feeling that I'd probably enjoy this game a lot, and the style looks excellent. So I think we should cover this personally.
It's a less gritty fighting force, I think. If I can
Yeah.
throw out more
An
classic-
interview.
I would love an interview with these guys.
Yeah, I think this is worthy of an interview as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thomas?
I think it looks great. I mean, it does remind me of Power Stone a lot, but it also reminds me of Pit Fighter, if anybody remembers that game.
Oh, yes.
Good God, I'm old. Yeah,
It's just
looks
not as
interesting.
it's not as gritty, right? Though
No,
it's like
it's
80s.
vibrant. I love it.
Yeah, there's definitely some serious polish on this. AJ,
Well, I mean, since this is the second fighting game we've already covered in the show, I'm going to automatically compare it to the previous one.
Mhm.
This looks, again, okay, but it doesn't look as good as the other one to me because it doesn't look as polished. And I can't explain why, but this just doesn't look like it would have much replay value. This looks like something I would, probably have fun with for a little bit, but then I would put it down and have no motivation to pick it back up. But again, that's just based off the trailer. I wouldn't know until I actually played it, but just off first glance, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting.
I think that's fair. Raylak, thoughts?
You already asked me, but what's
I
with
know,
the
but
Godzilla
do
suit?
you have any additional thoughts? Because we already ripped on the 80s thing. Is this 80s done right by chance, or is this just more banking on retro?
What's with the Godzilla suit? That's the only thing I can
Always
think of.
got to
at the
have a
moment.
Godzilla suit, is the thing.
Godzilla.
Fred?
I think they are kind of banking
Sorry,
on something.
Not Fred. Not
Oh,
Fred.
haha, I'm the new Fred.
Yeah. Oh, I hope
That's not a good
one of
thing.
the-
I feel sorry for you.
I do.
Oh, one of the details in the description said that at least I think the game was based off of a comic book series. If that's true, then I think depending on what that comic book series is, there might be room for a lot of like lore and interesting things to go on if there's a ton of material for basing this game off of. I didn't really shine through in the trailer, but I hope that it's good and it has a good lore to it. I think it kind of looks like a slightly less derpy Gang Beasts, so it's got that going for it. Gang Beasts turned out to be a lot of fun, so I'm kind of sold on the game. I'd be interested in seeing us cover this.
Dude, I had the same exact thought about Gang Beasts. By the way, when now that you mentioned that, this is totally. I hope it's in the vein of Gang Beasts. This kind of like new local co-op. Yeah, I think if it's similar to Gang Beasts or like kind of just that same spirit, this is gonna be great.
I think so as well.
That's fair enough. Fred, I know it's French, so you have to weigh in.
No, I hate to open that debate, but is it fair to compare it to the last fighting game? And AJ, you should answer that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
as if they're both the same genre to me, and then just it's a subconscious thing. I mean, if you see a game type that is similar to a previous one, especially in such a short amount of time, you're automatically going to compare it to it. And again, if we're picking what we want to cover, I'm going to go with the one that looks a little more polished to me. So I would pick the other one every
in
time.
that context. Yeah, in that context.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely asking. I'm not convinced myself that it is unfair. I think, to some extent, I think you're right. I think it's fair. And then when you listen to a reaction like Tyler's, that's like kind of inquisitive of what this could be instead of. I don't think Tyler felt that way on the last fighting game, and that kind of made me question whether it's fair to compare them.
Okay, Eli, and then Michael, and then we're going to do a giveaway.
Okay, so looking at the art style for this game, I would say that the artwork in the fights looks like it's generally of, relatively speaking, the same quality level as what was in the last game. The little cuts of artwork in between that aren't supposed to be part of the fights, those look like they're a lower quality, but it looks like it's intentional, like it's playing on really old crap 80s games. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's lower quality. And the fact that they're doing it in 3D, it takes a lot more effort to make that look good. So, personally, I'd say the way that they've gotten it to look, given that it's in 3D, is pretty good for a small developer. So I wouldn't say that it looks like it'd be worse than the other one. It's just different style.
I agree with that.
I do want to throw out there that the game is not due until May 19th, but the trailer says 2015. So I don't know what's going on there, guys.
All right.
But apparently it got pushed back just a touch. But it is
It's a game about time travel.
It is a game about time travel. So we've gone through 80s to 2015. Anyway, Michael, what are your thoughts? And then we're going to do a giveaway.
I mean, I think what everyone was saying about the intentional, not poorer quality, but the kind of lo-fi aesthetic of the cutscenes. I think that's really working for it. I think if they work that into the game more, I think it'd really enhance it a little bit, because I certainly think that it does, comparing it to the last fighting game we saw in this stream, it does kind of look, not quite as great. But if they're going for it, I think it works. And I dig the color scheme in this. It's less neon 80s and more like we're going to put a bunch of really bright colors together and hope it sticks. And I love that. I like the way this game looks more than anything else. I'm still not good at fighting games, so I don't know if I'd be the best one to do this, but it looks interesting, to say the least.
I'm just not really sure. Was that a priest that turned into a bird, or a what was that in that
Who knows?
flash exactly? What did it turn into? An eagle? Was that a crab? I'm not sure what character that is, but I want to play that character, and I want to find out what's going on there. But that being said, it's one of those things where 80s vibe has been used and reused and reused and reused. So I wonder if this is just the 80s being used in a good format, or that is a bird, fish, lobster thing. I'm not really sure what I saw. But anyway, we're going to get on to the giveaway. Yeah. So normally we would have the lovely Caitlin be doing this. Fred, how do you want to do the giveaway, since you are the Grand High Poobah and president?
It's a number between 0 and 100, and
Okay.
whoever gets the number in the chat gets the game. It's as basic as that. So just
Okay.
choose Tyler to think of a number.
Tyler,
Oh,
can you still
me think
count?
of a number.
Yeah, don't say it, but just think it in your mind. Just keep
Okay.
it there.
I got
Okay.
this.
1 to 100, and then keep it there.
Oh,
then
and
we're gonna go.
and we're giving away Galaxy.
There we go. So we're gonna give away actually a really, really awesome game, Galaxy.
Yes.
We did an interview with those guys. You can find it on YouTube, OP Noobs. You can find it at opnoobs.com, as long as Fred
Pleasure
actually
writing a
interviewed
review
them.
of that game as well, which you can also find on our
That's
website.
right. That's
Written by
right.
Chris Kellogg. Chris Kellogg
That's
is
right.
the reviewer.
Yeah. So, Chris,
I remember.
real quick, what was your favorite part about Galaxy? While everybody's
Um,
throwing their numbers in the chat, and blah is not a number.
I don't want to. It's an important thing, like in the game, that I don't want to completely give away. But like, I'm just gonna say that you think the game is just gonna be a more traditional space shooter, and then, like, I'd say a third of the way through the story, you're given a whole bunch of new powers that give you a whole new way of playing the game that you just really don't see coming. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. The game has twists that are like totally awesome, and the action is so good. So yeah, you'll love this game. Whoever wins this game, get excited.
No, that's fair. And you can only guess one number. You can't just
He
keep
won't
guessing
pick
numbers.
because I'd
Yeah,
already picked
Lotus,
6 to 7.
you got to be careful.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So, all right.
Well, Lotus picked a number that somebody else had already picked. That's why he wanted the different one.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Bad, Steven.
Raylak had to screw up the numbers. That's why. So we'll just have to put him in the basement again. So, that
Woohoo, I
being
love the
said,
basement.
Tyler, keep the number in your brain. We're gonna go through the
Right.
next trailer, and then we're gonna release it afterward. You stay in the basement. We're releasing the number. Sorry.
Aw.
So
You get
With
it wrong.
that-
I slip you the key.
that's true. With that, we're gonna go to the next trailer. Fred's not here, so we can actually talk. So the next one is called Giant or Giant. Yeah. I don't know. There's a capitalized A. It's weird. So Raylak, tell us about this game.
Join Adam in this fun-filled first-person platformer from the indie solo developer at Rectangle Games. I'm not sure I'm reading the right part here, but this is what they put. Roam vast human-sized worlds as a tiny little ant. But this is no ant simulator. That's on Congregate. This is an ant venture. Adam must find sweet, delectable must find sweet, delectable whilst being hunted by all manner of creatures.
All right.
That's the best
developed-
pun. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was very clever. Developed by Rectangle Games, another excellent pun. Solo developer Adam Reed, based in East Sussex, UK, founded in 2015. Rectangle. Very clever. That's all.
Right.
I also
So-
love how you're joining Adam the Ant from a developer called Adam.
Oh, ridiculous.
Right. And of course, since we just got done with all the 80s talk, we have to think about Adam Ant as well. We have to think of Ant-Man as well.
Well, not to mention Sim Ant. I mean,
Sim
you can't
Ant.
talk about an ant game without talking about Sim Ant, I feel like.
Yeah, you can't not talk about Samant. So, we are ants in this. This could get really nasty really quick. An ant. You get to be an ant. This is not something we've seen a lot. Yeah, we have. Raylak, what are your thoughts on this game developer from East Sussex? Chris. Raylak.
Thank you.
It looks like he watched the film Ants one too many times. If anyone remembers that from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Woody Allen.
Yep. So far, there's not much we can really see in the trailer. There's a lot of dirt walls, some rectangles, and the graphics are a bit average at best.
I'm curious about the. I'm curious about the recording. Is this like Blair Witch with ants? Is this?
That was my
Is
question.
this Cloverfield? What's going on?
Ants made tiny little cat.
This camera that we're watching.
What does that bring to this?
I'm not really sure. I mean, is it maybe? I mean, it's not a recording overlay. Is someone sending drones down into ant colonies? Is that where we are now?
I'm so
Well,
confused.
this also doesn't do a very good job describing, are you like managing the ant colony? Are you an ant? Like, what exactly is happening here?
It's like National
First-person
Geographic.
platformer. So
Yeah. No, it's actually a puzzle first-person shooter. That's probably what it is.
Honestly, I would say next.
So it's Portal with
Yeah, I'm
ants.
with that. I'm with nexting this one.
Although
this
just to pull
needed a
out-
better trailer.
It really did. I mean, just to pull out an old PlayStation reference, I remember there was a game called Spider, the game, where you got to play as a spider with an Uzi attached to your arm. Some weird comic book origin story. But, wow, guys, in order for us to know what the game is about with just the trailer, this is kind of the first thing we see. We need to know more about the gameplay, you know?
This is number 6?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let's move.
We're gonna move forward. So
No,
the
we're
next
not.
game. Yes.
No, we're not. Giveaway.
We got to
Yeah,
do a
giveaway.
giveaway now. Tyler,
Yeah.
are you still
Yes.
capable of spitting out the number?
I am. I used a random number generator, so we got it. Do I say the number now, or
This is the point where you say the number. Yes.
No, you don't say the number because. Oh
he
yeah.
has to
Say
give
the
it
number.
out, man.
Okay. Sorry.
what? Do you,
Say
okay,
the
so
number.
Have an episode.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Ah!
Release the number. Release the number.
Okay, I'll get. Oh my God, the wasp is back. The wasp is back.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Good times. Good times.
Sense the
Ah.
ants.
I just saw some tiger run by.
Excellent.
This is
Oh,
going to
boy.
run over
He's
your
fighting
face.
for
We're
the
just going to see his face drop in front of the camera.
I can just. I sense it. Oh no, he didn't.
I'm actually hoping that we see that Captain Phasma standee that he has in his room. So, Tyler, are you back with us, boy?
Did you get him? Did you get him?
No, he went outside though, so I'm calling it a victory.
That's fair. So, speaking of victories, what was the number?
Right.
Number? What number?
Yeah. Right. Whew.
Right.
Number is
We couldn't even
It's a
script
French
this.
victory.
the number is 89, and I believe this
89.
makes 89. I think this makes
89.
Lotus our winner with 76 as the highest number.
It is.
Yep.
It is, as a matter of fact. So, Lotus,
Lotus.
congrats. You have won Galaxy. We're going to get you that key in just a moment. Whoever's got the key, give him a key. Maybe.
I got it. I have it. Galaxy. Who won it?
That would be Lotus. Lotus Sendros.
I got it.
I'm gonna go clean up the bleach I've sprayed all over my apartment. I'll be back in a minute.
Fantastic. Have fun with that. So the
you.
next one. God, don't die. Keep your dulcet tones there. All right. So the next game. We just
And
steer this
breathe.
Ship ADD back to Riddlin Bay. The next game is Link Realms.
Oh, this isn't a Zelda reference? Right.
No, I thought it was too.
Link Realms is a sandbox MMORPG, oh dear God, that harks back to the roots of classic online role-playing games, oh even more God, where community was the center of the user experience. That never happened. One's choices mattered, yeah right, and reputation was earned on the battlefield rather than the leaderboards. But the leaderboards tell you who won on the battlefield.
I
This
don't
will
remember any
end
game
well.
that ever existed.
Is there a leaderboard? So at the Battle of the Bulge, was there a leaderboard just hanging off to the side where they were taking
Well,
time?
yeah,
Battle of the Bulge
after
was
we
all about
finished
community.
killing people, we went and put a leaderboard up for who got the most kills. Have you not watched Lord of the Rings? This is why they keep track in the fight scenes.
I was wondering. Well, at Verdun, Fred, was that how they kept track of all the falls on the battlefield?
Don't catch me on tape on this type of stuff. I don't know.
French was who could die the
He
most.
doesn't know whether or not there was a leaderboard at the Battle of Verdun. Just
Maybe.
We don't know either.
God, you're gonna shut down the whole operation, Steven.
I know. Not
Quiet,
that.
move on.
We
Next.
have a
That
developer
Verdun.
description. We have a developer
No.
description.
Go on with the description.
All right, so Mythian Interactive is a game development studio founded in 2001 by Herb Flower, who previously established Rewolf Entertainment, and Paul Witt. It is based in Riverton, Utah, which is in the USA, in case you didn't know where Utah was.
Uwata?
You,
I like the
So-
USA.
yes, where it is commonly referred to as Uwata.
Fair enough. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm seeing shades of The Sims with shades of the old style Richard Garriott, Lord British
Ultimate
Ultima games. I'm seeing bits and pieces of maybe I might say Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, of course.
What all do we think about this, Chris? Was this ever something in your wheelhouse? I'm not really sure.
I really jumped into the MMO phase like pretty early on into what I'd call the more 3D world. Like Anarchy Online was really my first splash, which I know is an earlier one, but that really was more of the EverQuest like 3D ilk. I didn't really jump in on this type of gameplay. I guess the closest that I ever came to is probably Diablo multiplayer, which I know is not the same thing. So don't send me any hate mail. I know it is not the same thing. But yeah, no, I mean, I look at this and I can totally see why people, or why they themselves as an Ultima game. I mean, this looks like Ultima, for sure.
There's definitely something charming about it.
So, Thomas, have you played any of the Ultima games? I heard you kind of saying a few things when I was trying to throw out comparisons. Are they pretty much on the mark? Is this something that you might have been playing?
It looks like Ultima Online, to be honest. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. And I didn't even really play that when that was out. I kind of like skipped over that, and I basically just went into like EverQuest and like City of Heroes and stuff like that. I mean, it looks like it's fun to play, but graphic-wise, it's all right.
City of Heroes.
That's right.
City of Heroes.
Villains.
City
City of
Villains.
Heroes
Bit of
was
a jump.
awesome.
It was
City of
amazing.
Villains is better though. I just like the content and villains. But Eli, what are your thoughts on this thing?
It doesn't look that interesting to me. It looks like it looks like a simplified kind of Dink Smallwood version of Baldur's Gate, which Dink Smallwood at least had a lot of personality going for it in being ridiculous and stupid. But I don't know. I wouldn't really want to play this.
That's fair. That's fair. Raylak, your thoughts on this?
Those inventory graphics are actually from Ultima Online.
Seriously?
Those are exactly the same graphics which are in Ultima Online.
So
the
are
armor
we-
suits and the loot-wise.
That's right.
Yeah. Are we basically saying that in this trailer we're seeing assets being borrowed?
Well, it's open Ultima now, right? So I'm sure
Yeah,
there's some legal basis for this, but this still doesn't make it any better.
But, I mean, it looks like it's had a graphics overhaul for the rest of the game. It's a bit newer than Ultima, and it looks like you can actually move the camera. That's something new. Ultima
But the
never
game,
did that,
the game itself, I'm sorry to say, looks pretty full.
looks what?
How do you mean?
It looks like what, Fred?
It looks full. Like it looks, I don't know. The game looks full. Does that not make sense?
How
Are you
Getting
trying
a
to
big
say
meal?
that?
You know, like you see, it looks like a fully fleshed out game.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I think
wait.
you're saying there's too much on screen.
Yeah, it's no, it just no. I mean, like it looks like a fully fleshed out game, and there's something interesting about it. I'm definitely not a fan personally, obviously, but I don't know. I think I feel like you guys are a little bit harsh. Like this feels like a fully fleshed out game that some people could actually get into. No?
I don't think
It
anybody
really
was
reminds
harsh
me.
with
It reminds me a lot of Dink Smallwood, but most of the charm of that game was in the humor. So I don't know.
I don't know. When I think serious storytelling, I think Dink Smallwood.
Is that your stripper name?
In
No, that's
Oh.
Dink Hard.
It looks like a revival attempt at the old Ultima Online,
Yeah,
which could actually go quite well
I
because
actually
it
support
had a
that,
very
too.
hardcore player base.
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of people that have tried that though. I'm pretty sure we've seen other Ultima Online attempt like clones. I think it's like the retro grab, except it's kind of a PC retro grab.
Oh, you mean like D-Day, which is coming up soon?
Yeah, perhaps.
We're totally knowledgeable on this, folks. Really, we are. So we're gonna move on to the next one. The next game.
I like this game.
Yeah. So the next game, speaking of 80s grab, I see a theme in these, Dan. Thank you. Actually, I was just saying earlier that I love the themes in these lists that are curated for us. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. You like?
As if I even need to read you a description on this, because you should all know exactly what's going to happen. Battle alongside your brothers through the sewers, subways, and streets of New York City to take down Shredder and Krang's evil organization, foot by foot. Unleash custom combat skills and powerful team combos to save Manhattan from the overwhelming dark forces growing in the shadows.
Chris?
All right.
That was a good announcer voice.
Developed by Platinum Games, Platinum Games seeks to provide gamers worldwide with games of the highest quality. We aim to exceed expectations to surprise and delight our fans. This drive guides us as we create our products, and we chose our company name as a constant reminder of our goals. Platinum, renowned for its high quality, is a metal that keeps its luster forever. Wow. And
I don't know.
Girl's best friend.
I've never heard of these guys. What has Platinum done, right?
But it definitely looks good.
Yeah,
Here comes
Platinum's done this now.
yeah.
Stylo, if you can
definitely.
get any type of gameplay footage on this, that would be very helpful.
We're
No,
looking at gameplay.
joking
Well,
now,
to a
yep.
point, we're actually looking at gameplay footage right there.
Yeah, it's
I
very cutscene-ish.
no, yeah, but that's the
I
thing.
think this is gameplay footage, though.
The last couple of
Some
Turtle
of it
games,
was.
Fred, are
Um,
actually gameplay.
I gotta say though, Platinum Games has actually seriously developed a name for themselves in making fast-paced brawler games that are really high quality.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
They're the company that did the Transformers Devastation game, which actually went back to the G1 Transformers, and people love that.
Oh, that game was sweet. Yeah.
Oh
Fred,
yeah.
To be fair, the snarkiness and the sarcasm, these guys, they specialize in making graphics, in-game fighting graphics that look cutscene-like. Bayonetta,
Yeah,
Mad World,
it's impressive.
Vanquish.
I've never seen
Yeah.
anything like it.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, Star Fox Zero was a
Yep,
Platinum
correct.
Games.
Star Fox
Yeah.
God,
Oh.
Metal Gear Rising, Revengeance.
Yes.
Okay.
They are not an indie developer by any means, but they're awesome. They just do amazing stuff. But
We should cover
that
this.
that's
Yeah, of course. Did
almost
you
a
guys say
given.
where are they based? I know you guys
Japan.
probably already said it.
Japanese
They're
video
Japanese.
game development? Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
The Japanese PR teams in the US are super friendly people.
Until we talk to them, and then they are no longer.
No, they always they're super friendly people. They always extend Steam codes and all that, and they actually get to have a real relationship with their PR teams. The Japanese are very good at promoting their games in the US.
I'd cover this one if I could.
Yeah. I think it's a guarantee. If anybody's played the previous Turtle games,
Oh, hells yeah.
this almost feels like it's a pass, a buy, where it's guaranteed to get covered, just because we already know that there's going to be quality in there. It might not be for everybody, but it's the closest we're going to get to Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist, the old arcade versions as well on PC.
We,
it's awesome.
we actually need a top writer on this. Like, it's got to be well written.
Yeah, we need a top writer first. Where are we going to find one?
What about that quality from TMT Free?
Oh, that movie did not happen. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Do you see that shark?
This is
Like
TMT Free. This
the
is
shark
real
that jumps
TMT
on?
Free.
Yeah,
It's
that shark
amazing.
looks awesome.
It looks amazing, man. Even the Ninja Turtles and their facial expression with those big eyes and stuff, it really rendered well. It's great artwork.
And it's definitely taking a lot of the new style of the Turtles from the new comic books, the Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the Nickelodeon property.
Brilliant slip there.
Yeah, right. Well, that was the best Turtles game, so there's that.
True.
But that being said, speaking of top writers, how does one become a top writer, Chris?
Well, you should first Fred at opnoobs.com. Anything that you just basically say, hey, look, I'm interested in writing. We'll get you looped in. We'll pull you in our TeamSpeak. Introduce yourself, and we'll hook you up with our writing list, and you'll get a chance to prove your skills. It's some easy first articles, and if you do well, we'll give you some harder assignments. And if you end up doing really well, we'll maybe consider giving you some AAA titles. So it's not too hard to start. Of course, it's more difficult to climb the ranks, but if you think you've got what it takes, email Fred at opnoobs.com. And that's all.
That was well done.
That was well done. Little slow to start. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Sorry,
got him with guard.
I'd say we should cover it.
A little rusty there, but my enunciation.
It's been a while.
It's true.
Yeah, it's been a while since you were here to shamelessly plug anything. I missed the Micro Machines voice. That's
we have a Patreon as well, so maybe you can talk about that since I'm basically exhausted from what I was just talking about.
Yeah, you really did. You really did stumble across it. So
help jumpstart the Patreon. No, I said help, because keyword jumpstart the Patreon. Patreon is not active. Help us jumpstart it.
Fred, we're not PBS. We're not going to beg here. But please, we need your money, or else
And
we're going to.
viewers like you.
We're not going to beg. We're going to demand it.
This accent costs a lot of money, people.
pledge.
Do you know
think
how
we-
much they're
I think we
paying
should
me just to be here to say this?
We
That's
should also
actually
mention it's $1 a month.
That is true.
$1 a month.
And-
That's huge.
And if you
We never said, it's $1 a month, and you
And
support.
we'll send you Fred's spoken album if you give more.
Yeah.
Than yeah.
Oh, that'll put them off. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hottest mixtape of 2016.
So basically what'll happen, if you like what we do, the truth of the matter is everything that you see on the site, like I said at the top of this, everything is a labor of love or sometimes misplaced drunken lust on a weekend. So everything that you see is written for gamers, by gamers. It's really not just a tagline. We give up hours upon hours upon hours of our busy, productive social lives. And we come together several times a week to interview developers, both indie and AAA alike. We've got a bunch of our old interviews over on the YouTube channel, which if you look right below this video, you will find a link to the YouTube page. You'll also, of course, find a link to that Patreon. And all of this, like I said, the giveaways, they come out of our pockets. And if you want to keep getting basically stuff from our pockets, you got to put something back into our pockets, guys. So if you like the stuff that we're doing, if you want to contribute, contact us, not going by the website, but just contact us at fred@opnoobs.com, chris@opnoobs.com. If you actually want to get something
Stephen.
done.
It was forceful and decisive. Give $1
shut
a
up and
month,
let
damn
them-
it! $1. God
Okay.
damn- Sorry.
Seriously though, everything that we do is specifically for you guys, so you can insult us at length on YouTube comments and on nasty Twitter comments and send people after us and put Tyler back in the basement. We'll black bag him and we'll just pull him out next time. And we do have to pay Raylac a lot of money to bring out the Brits, unfortunately.
And also don't expect us to update the Patreon page. We've got a full site in any case. It's opinoobs.com. The Patreon is just a bank account, $1 a month.
I feel like we need a Sarah McLachlan song accompanying all of that.
In the
The
arms of an angel.
Look at all the hardware there.
All right, that's enough because we'll get you the copyright strike. Come on, we'll get muted for
right.
like the rest of this. So that being said, we're gonna move on to the next game, and oh my good God, it's another Total War Warhammer game. It's literally called Total War Warhammer.
Again, I feel like it's every week.
It is every week. These guys are like Ubisoft now.
Crack.
Okay.
Developers on crack.
That being said, Raylak,
Indeed.
tell us about something that we probably already know about.
I will do a sponsored Black Bag of Tyler if you guys pay me enough. And the old world echoes to the clamor of ceaseless war, ceaseless battle even. We're not quite at war stage yet. The only constant is war. There we go. Now we're at the war. A fantasy strategy game of legendary proportions. Total War Warhammer combines an addictive turn-based campaign of epic empire building with explosive, colossal, real-time battles. These guys really love their adjectives. All set in the vivid and incredible world of Warhammer Fantasy battles. Command 4 wholly different races: the Empire, the Dwarves, the Vampire Counts, and the Greenskins, each with their own unique characters, battlefield units, and playstyle.
All right, and developed by the Creative Assembly. According to their own description, they say we've got some pretty serious history here at the Creative Assembly, and we're not just talking about the settings for our multi-award-winning Total War series. We're now in our 26th year of developing world-class video games, and we're not resting on our laurels, Roman or otherwise. From a starting team of 5, we've expanded to over 300 super talented developers across 3 floors in our state-of-the-art development facility just outside London. They're still growing.
It's the most obnoxious. You Brits.
Why am I here instead of over there?
3 whole floors of
Oh,
of
wow.
office, guys.
It's
3
the most
floors, and
obnoxious
you're
PR
still
messaging.
growing.
Steven, react to this. You're
I
getting
would love
soft.
to. Chris, are you finished with that?
Oh, I mean, I wish I could go on, but I can't because there's no more.
Stop.
Awesome. Okay, so first off, I love Creative Assembly. I really do. They made probably the best Alien game in recent memory, Alien Isolation. They completely wiped out the taste from my mouth of Aliens Colonial Marines. Screw you, Gearbox. I'm just saying that again. So, what I can say is this. There comes a point where the PR jargon could just push it aside a little bit. We know what you can do. We know what all you're capable of. But another Total War game?
It looks badass, Steven.
But
I
Warhammer
know, it's
Total War.
amazing. That's the thing. I love Warhammer Universe. I really do. There's some miniatures right over there, which I'm not showing because
Do it.
It's
I don't have
it's definitely the. Hold on. Let me state that it's definitely the first one that looks like that.
But that being said,
This looks like all cutscene
It's not
though.
even true.
It
The
is-
last Attila looked this good.
based upon the trailer, that's the thing of this show, is based upon the trailer, it's pure cutscene. And in many cases, we do rip on game development houses and publishers that put out trailers of just cutscene stuff. I like to see
sure.
gameplay. But as the guy that did a couple of reviews for Total War series in the past, Chris, I remember distinctly that you did Total War Attila.
I did, yes, and I've also played a lot of Medieval 2, and I played a lot of the original Rome, and I think I reviewed Rome 2, or I bought it. I can't remember even.
It was Rome Total War. No,
yeah.
Dan Wheeler did Rome Total War, wasn't it?
Maybe, but I've definitely played a lot of Total War games, and I'm not particularly a Warhammer fan. Not trying to knock Warhammer at all, but I'm not particularly a Warhammer fan. And seeing as that franchise is got it kind of seeped its way into all these different other games, I'm not particularly excited to see it make its way into the Total War franchise, because a lot of my excitement about Total War is that it is historically accurate. That's one of the fun things about it, is you can be the Romans or you can be whatever empire.
Are you trying to say that Warhammer's not totally historically accurate? What
No,
we did,
that
This
period of
happened.
time, I think, is very, very controversial, and I think that that there's a lot of Warhammer revisionists that would agree with me that maybe that history was not correct. You know
This-
what?
this is
Trying
gonna
to
happen
say that you
before the
are
Bible.
are you a denier of the
I'm a
orcs?
Warhammer denier. Yeah, it's true. But not, the 40,000 years. Those are okay with me. I've actually enjoyed the 40K universe much more than the medieval universe of Warhammer. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be okay, but Warhammer in Total War, and that whole name, just saying it just is terrible. It's just, I think this just feels like a way of making money off of both fan groups for a game that's just not going to offer anything all that important, probably for either franchise.
I feel bad for anybody that wants to order this over the phone, that they want to order Total War Warhammer. Because they're probably going to...
Why didn't they just call
Wait
it
till
Total
the expansion
Warhammer?
comes out. War of the something.
War of the something or other. Fred, speaking of war...
So it's just been a tremendous amount of advertising for this game.
Yeah.
I do think, and I guess it doesn't say much, but I do think that it's got a much bigger budget than your standard Warhammer. This one they're banking on this one. I think that if they spent a large chunk of their budget in advertising, it means also a lot must have gone into development. So I think we're looking at a project that has that extra mile philosophy, for lack of a better term. Like, this is the one that that studio is hoping to change the minds of people like Chris, in my opinion. Whether or not they're going to succeed, I have no idea. And I agree with you that it's a mistake not to actually put gameplay onto the footage, because it's at the end, we want to see the gameplay.
This is gameplay, though. Like, they're using cinematics, but honestly, this is what most Total War games look like, from what I can tell.
No, not from my
Yeah, I
experience.
mean, really, though.
I've played a few too.
cinematics, but I, as a Total War fan, I understand what I'm seeing here.
It honestly, I've always criticized that series for feeling a little sluggish as far as gameplay.
It depends how you play it. It all depends on the kind of player you are. It can be a very aggressive game if you play it that way. I don't know. To me, it's probably the most ultimate tactical RTS I've played.
And you're not excited about this one, Chris?
No, I like Total War games. Not excited about the Warhammer variant, though. Gotta say, not excited about the Warhammer version. I just know what I'm seeing here. I'm just explaining, like, as a Total War fan,
Yeah.
like, I get, like, this shows me, like, it's cinematic, but, like, these are the units. Like, what you're seeing in front of you are going to be largely the units. You're seeing more siege warfare. Generally speaking, you're really looking at medieval warfare with kind of a bit of a fantasy splash. That's what this is. And that's kind of all it is.
Thomas, did you have an opinion on this? Have you ever played any of the Total War games? Have you ever played the tabletop Warhammer stuff? What is your experience with them?
Well, let's just say I have like about 3 or 4 core sets in the other room there, because I work for a magazine called Game Trade Magazine, I have Overkill. I have.
You wear core sets? That's what I hear.
Fantasy
No.
the latest Fantasy Warhammer, and the latest small game. I think it was called Lost Recon or something like that. But anyway, I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for this because it looks like it's going to be a really good game. And I played some of the stuff from Focus Interactive as well, and that stuff is just all top notch. I mean, Battlefleet Gothic is just freaking amazing.
And we actually highlighted Battlefleet Gothic on last week's show. So this is maybe like the 3rd show in a row, I think, that we've had at least one Warhammer property, which is not necessarily bad. But the question I have, and, like I mentioned, I do like Warhammer. Kellogg is more of a Total War fan. I didn't think he was a hawk, but, election years make people weird. What can I say? And
Sorry, I apologize.
Thomas has a whole lot of, obviously, interest in Warhammer. So my question is, why was this released as a standalone game? Couldn't this just have been, I know this is a weird thing to say in 2016, couldn't this just have been an expansion pack? Couldn't this just have been DLC?
No, it's
Dude, this could have been a mod.
This is a fully fleshed out product, man.
This
is a fully
minimum
Could
a
have been a
total
mod.
conversion.
Could have been a mod for Attila.
Yeah.
But
This could have been a mod, don't you think?
it depends on the game mechanics.
Well,
If
Thomas,
they've-
what's your opinion first, and then we'll get to you, Britsley.
I would have to see a lot of actual gameplay, because this is like, it looks like a lot of cutscenes for right now. I mean, some of it does look like it's gameplay, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't played that many of the Total War games, to be honest. But this looks like it is just a tabletop version of the game in computer form, and it looks amazing.
Okay. Raylak.
I mean, on the topic of could it be a mod or not, potentially yes. If they just want to stick with all the mechanics which are in Attila the way they are, they could quite easily do a total conversion mod, redo the whole map, redo all the races, and make it work. What I'm hoping on is that what we can't see from the trailer, though, is they've actually put something new in it. Tweaked some mechanics, maybe balanced it for the new mod, brought in some new mechanics to handle that. For example, we have an undead race in this to deal with. That should not play the same as the living races. If it does, I will be horribly disappointed in this game. And yes, I really want to play this. This looks great.
And I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, Chris, but I'm looking at actual gameplay footage on YouTube right now, and this is not gameplay footage. Now that it looks completely different. That doesn't mean that it doesn't look awesome.
Well, to anyone that's familiar with
it, cinematized, but this is basically what you would be seeing in terms of graphics quality. And if you wanted to like point your camera this way, you could. Like you could make it.
No. It's Stylo. You're wrong, Chris. Stylo.
I don't know. I mean, I play a lot of Total War games.
Interrupt
so
a little
bit.
bit.
Put it out there and say that I got a pretty. I feel like what Raylac said was pretty correct. That like everything doesn't show us the specific gameplay differences that like Undead might offer. Yeah. But like what you're seeing is actually from the game engine.
Not at all. Watch the gameplay footage.
No, Fred. There's a bit of a difference between in-game footage and game engine. So what we're basically seeing here, Tyler, get back to your hole. What we're basically seeing here.
I wish Stylo would put some gameplay footage.
At the beginning of the trailer, it even says that it's game engine footage, not necessarily in-game. But if you've seen any of the Total War games, you're used to the isometric kind of overhead tabletop perspective. And so what we're seeing, that one section where it's apparently Eli with the cannons and the shield and the whatnot, against the zombies and whatnot. Eli, thanks for joining us on this show. But that sequence
again,
that
Viking, not dwarf.
That's true. But that one sequence,
maybe dwarf and Viking.
I mean, to be fair, John Rhys Davies is a tall man, but he became Gimli pretty easily. CGI is wonderful, isn't it? But that being said, what we're seeing there is probably as close to game style mechanical footage as we're probably going to see. Stylo is actually going to put gameplay footage in the chat because he's awesome like that, and he somehow puts up with it. So thank you, Stylo. It's a shame you're never on this because I feel like you could probably override all of us. But I think it goes without saying that Total War Warhammer War is going to be a very big thing when it finally releases, and I think all of us are kind of looking forward to it. This is going to be the first time we have 3 AAA games to close the show. So, before we do that, Fred, do we have another thing to give away?
Only one last game. Only one last game? Can we say what that game is? No. It's we only have one trailer left.
Yeah, we only have one trailer left.
Okay. Yeah. So the final game is Oddworld New and Tasty.
Ooh.
New and Tasty. Oddworld New and Tasty.
Oh.
I know. I thought it was New Dynasty or something like that, but I had to check the. I have closed captions for Fred.
I thought you meant what we were doing next.
No. That's not the last one. No, that's the game we're giving away. So
we're not doing it the other way around?
No, sort of, kind of. Anyway, so Oddworld New and Tasty, we know what the game is about. If you played any of the old Oddworld games, Munch's Odyssey for the Xbox, if you played...
you see, Chris is putting gameplay footage. I have to interrupt you.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean, though. I guess you and I just have a different idea of what looks like.
No, this is not.
This is very different. What we saw was a slightly more cinematographic version of this.
Here comes the argument.
I disagree. Like,
you get that same cinematic effect.
This is a very different experience, man.
Loud noises. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's not. It's the worst
part. People fighting on a wall. This is not
since it began.
Oh, look, now there's a big guy fighting on the wall.
Yeah.
It looks like shit in comparison, man.
Can we stop yelling about this, please?
They're jumping off.
Guys, come on. We're gonna.
This is what the trailer featured.
Okay, here's the thing. Cinematic is specifically for the property. We're all very familiar with the property. If we've been playing video games in the last 5 years, if you've been playing tabletop in the last 20, you know what Warhammer is. Total War, if you've been playing Total War at all, none of this should be surprising. This is exactly what Total War games often look like, which is why we made a second to say, shouldn't this have been a mod? That being said, Chris, since you've had like the most experience with this kind of stuff, is this in line with what you see in Total War?
Yeah, this is exactly what I expect to see from Total War. In fact, some of those look like
me too, actually, and it feels sluggish.
I mean, regardless of comparison to the trailer aside, it basically looks like a Warhammer reskin. I mean, even the siege warfare hasn't changed. You got purple cannons and purple catapults. They might look different, but nothing here is different. Instead of a battering ram, you've got a giant troll to get through the front door. But fundamentally, your archers are lined on walls. You've got artillery. You've got big giant palisades. There's nothing here that's different. This is just Total War with a Warhammer skin.
Units.
Yeah. You've got some flying units. Okay, that's like a nice little addition, but like that's been done before. That's like flying units we've heard of. I don't know. This just doesn't look. If they're selling this for $60, that is a waste of money, in my opinion. You already own any other war.
That being said, our resident Pinky, unfortunately, we don't have the brain, but we've got Tyler, so we'll go with that. Tyler, you have a thought. Please don't make me regret this.
Oh no, I won't do that, Steven. I've never done that before, I'm sure. I'm a big fan of the Total Hammer Warwick McWarface series. This game, War Total Hammer Ham War, looks like it's going to be pretty good. They did a game a couple games ago, I want to say in like 2005, called Totes McGoats War Boar Hammer Lore. That one was pretty good. However, their most recent game, aside from this one, Total Hammer Slammer Whacker Bammer War Bador War, that one was not quite so good. So I have hopes I have high hopes for Total Totes McGoats War Boar Hammer Lore, but I'm not sure if it'll quite live up to Total Hammer War McWarface.
So
he got those correct each time.
Wow, McWarface, well done. You must
I got Steven crying, man.
I want to say two things. I'm crying if for only the fact that any hope of journalistic integrity just went right out the window. I just waited for it.
Integrity? What's
I've
that?
been waiting 10 minutes
You
to
write
say
the
all
review
of
on
that.
this one.
Dude, you deserve an Oscar, actually.
And secondly, I think Tyler needs to be a fixture of this show, always going forward.
I think we're gonna let him host next time.
I think we might need to, but we're still gonna keep him in the basement.
Yeah, it's true. You gotta contain that kind of talent.
We don't want anyone else to steal him.
That's true. I mean, we have to make sure. Maybe we can upgrade him to like a walk-in larder. Maybe.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
No, we need to dig deeper.
Oh, okay. So the sub basement, right? Okay.
Sub basement.
Hell, we'll take that place over.
We will keep him in the septic tank.
Speaking that's a good idea.
How is that an improvement?
I didn't say it was an improvement.
Do you have a giveaway or something?
You down there.
Let's move to Overwatch.
You made me regret calling on you. What can I say? So, that being said, we have a giveaway. God help us all. The game is Abe. What is it, Fred? Please, if you don't mind. Abe New and Tasty?
Oddworld New and Tasty.
There we go. Abe's Oddworld New and Tasty. You know what the game is if you played a PlayStation game ever, because you probably had the old Oddworld games, the old Munch's Odyssey. What was the second game, Chris? Can you help me on that one? It was Abe's Exodus was the second one, wasn't it?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes.
It sounds correct. You know, I didn't play out of those games, so I hate to say.
Okay, well then the heck with you, sir.
Yes.
I thought it was Abe's Odyssey, then Munch's Odyssey, then Abe's Exodus.
Yeah.
A real bad PC one at
Nope,
one
I
point.
can confirm it was Odyssey, Exodus, Munch. I love those games growing up.
Yeah, because
All right.
Munch was the one on Xbox, wasn't it? The original Xbox? Thank you, sir. Get back to your larder. Septic tank now. It's just fun to ruin his day. It really is.
It is.
That being said,
What a gigantic ass.
thank you. So, that being said, Tyler, in your brain, while you're waiting around in that lovely, lovely sewage, could you please decide on a number between 1 and 100, and then we're going to go through the last trailer, and then whoever's still watching after that wonderful description of the Total War McWarface. Which, by the way, Bodie McBoatface should have won.
I wish actually. The beautiful thing is that he's got on tape, so that tomorrow I can. I feel like tomorrow I should probably. I feel tomorrow we should publish on the website just that clip. Just
We should.
with just that goddamn
We do need
clip.
a highlights reel.
No, that's the whole deal.
Actually, I feel like we should tweet it to the damn studio.
Yes.
We should tweet it.
Do that.
And you know what? The
Sure.
best part is we'll then have a compilation of all the head down moments for Tyler.
There are many.
Set up a meeting between Tyler and Shane and Stylo and get this program going.
And I will gladly put that on YouTube and tag it, and we will have thousands of hits.
You can do it. Go ahead.
If not millions, Steven.
Tyler,
Millions.
you made this show.
Indeed.
Oh, thank you.
That was epic, man. That's the best. I think that was one of the grand
In
highlights
fact,
of the
next
year.
week, none of us need to bother showing up. We're just going to stick Tyler here.
No,
He'll make
it's
us
only
all
good.
rich.
It's
I'll
only
see
good
some
when it's
septic
once a
tank.
show
We'll have
for like 30
mansions.
seconds.
Well, really,
Just
what
I feel
we'll
like
do, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on to the final trailer, which we already probably know what it is. Tyler, really, we're just going to have you in a room with a broken camera
In the dark.
in the dark, and it'll just be you
With a
reading off
flashlight.
something
And a
with
glow
no
stick.
light. No, with no light. And you
Flashlight.
actually
Just
need
swallow
to
the
watch-
glow stick.
Flashlight. We gotta give him a flashlight.
I'm going to develop myopia. I better get a flashlight.
So, that being said, the very
No, wait,
final game. Yes?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Eli, we're losing Eli. We got to move. The very last game that we have no choice in the matter. We have to review it because that's just how this works, apparently. So, the last game, kind of heard of it. It's Overwatch. It's Fred's favorite. It's Blizzard. So we're going to hear a lot of stuff about Blizzard. Raylac, tell us about this game we've never heard of.
I played it on the free trial, which they had out all last weekend, and it's not too bad. A bit of balancing needs to be done. It's generally well polished, and you can waste quite a few hours there if you have nothing better to do. But
Cool. Now
for the
tell
most
us
part-
about the description from the developer.
Oh, yeah, that part. I forgot about that. Clash on the battlefields of tomorrow and choose your hero from a diverse cast of soldiers, scientists, adventurers, and oddities. Bend time, defy physics, and unleash an array of extraordinary powers and weapons. Engage your enemies in iconic locations from around the globe in the ultimate team-based shooter. Take your place in Overwatch. The world needs heroes. And Tracer's butt.
Is that
This
also
is
from
the
the
butt game.
That-
Okay.
That's actually, yeah, now you get it. Yeah.
I get it
This-
now.
This is the one that basically, and this is why I liked Blizzard so much, is they basically said, "Oh yeah, that's too sexual. Here's an even more sexual pose."
Well, from what
So-
I'm seeing, butt game looks pretty fun.
Butt game 2006.
But like the guy who like limps around on like a one-leg
Simulator.
pogo stick is totally legit. Like whatever.
Oh,
So-
him.
Um,
Yeah, he's-
Well, okay, but do we even need to talk about Blizzard? We know what Blizzard does. Diablo, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, right?
They
Chris,
make
you wanna still
games.
tell us?
They also. I just want to note that they also publish, a series of nice Ferraris branded with Overwatch's logo. So for everyone
Yeah,
who wants the
I heard about that.
Ferrari Overwatch bundle, it's only $160, and you get the Ferrari skin on everything you own, including the jacket and the polo and douchebag attitude. It all comes
But
together.
that's not as good as the Saints Row $1 million edition because you got a Harrier jet in that one, if I remember.
Oh, well, fuck. I don't know. I mean, at least I can drive a Ferrari. A Harrier jet I can only look at.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. I could try.
Well,
I can
that's
try,
fair.
but I probably not gonna play a lot of games after I crash my jet.
Eli,
Just saying.
you have a thought. Please bring us back semblance of sanity.
In the description, it says that you play a cast of all this stuff, and it said scientists. Which character is a scientist? I played this game last weekend. I do not remember a scientist anywhere.
It's the buff girl, isn't
Symmetra.
it? Isn't that science-
Monkey.
It's
The
who?
monkey is a scientist. Symmetra, the woman who
Oh.
does sentries.
And
You've
the
got
rat,
the engineer.
Have you
Junkrat,
ever done
no.
science?
I remember
Congratulations,
the
you're a
monkey.
scientist.
I remember the monkey, but
Winston.
Yeah, Winston.
yeah, Winston. But what the hell? Like he's just a scientist in title only. All he does is run around and beat people up.
Well,
That's
yeah, you can
science.
hardly bring your
That's what a
science
scientist
lab
is supposed
out
to
for
to the
do.
science.
battlefield and beat somebody to death with a beaker.
Like, there's like
Especially if they
nothing
have
that they
guns.
do that's science
If you
related.
bring
That
a
is science
beaker to a
related. That is entirely
gunfight,
science
it's going
related.
badly.
He beats the science into you, according to Stylo, and I think that's the best description we've got for this game. So you run around and you bring science to people, just like we bring freedom. So this is bringing science to your doorstep. If you don't want it, we're going to punch you in the face with more science. I support this wholeheartedly. Thomas, I'm not 100% sure what your gaming background is. Obviously, you do tabletop stuff. Is this your kind of thing?
Absolutely. I've actually played the beta for this, and you know what? This is a team-based shooter, and I'm going to stress team. If your team is great, you're going to pull off all the objectives, and you're going to get everything done. But if your team sucks, forget it. It's a big pile of mess. So you got to talk to each other. You got to basically focus on the objectives, and you got to get together with your team, because if you don't, you're going to lose every time.
It's fair, but isn't that the same with any squad-based shooter? Tyler just disappeared. He just got black bagged, everybody.
Wait, somebody let him out of the septic. They're stealing him.
Well, we didn't.
My Tyler!
That's okay. That's okay. The Stockholm Syndrome already set in. He'll be back. So that being said, isn't that the same for any squad-based shooter? What other squad-based shooters have you played, Thomas?
I mean, I played Team Fortress 2, and I played Counter-Strike, and I played, like, a lot of, like, Black Ops 3. But then again, if you play, like, Black Ops 3, you can find one or two people who are going to be the carriers of the whole team. I mean, you could have, like, a really good sniper. You could have somebody who's really good with a shotgun, killing somebody from across the map, I might add. Black Ops 3, it's so broken. Anyway, I digress. But like I said, you can have a balanced team in any game and it's going to work. But in this game specifically, you have to basically get with your teammates. You have to talk to everybody, because if you don't, it's going to be a mess. Because I've seen people trying to do this on this game and basically try to do the whole thing themselves. They lose.
Okay. So the big question, Tyler, you're back. They returned you to the septic tank. I'm so glad to see that. And you're muted. That's the best part.
I tried to change my profile picture to a Beaker from the Muppets to show everyone what a real scientist is supposed to look like, but it didn't quite work. Anyways, I feel like there's a lot of teamwork in this game, so you're supposed to work like a team of scientists.
Yeah,
I think is what they're going for.
Yeah,
I have no further comments. You should probably continue things.
That's fair. And really, if you wanted to pick the real scientist, it's Bunsen Honeydew. Actually, Beaker was just the assistant, but
he's the one that goes like meep meep meep, right?
No, that's the Roadrunner.
What
Oh,
about Bill Nye? Can't we have Bill Nye?
he goes meet me.
Yes, Roadrunner
I
goes.
didn't know
meep,
Bill Nye
meep.
went meep
It's
meep.
okay. Yes,
I feel like I'm
Beaker-
sidetracking things. Go back to the show. I'm
Beaker
muting
also
myself
does
again.
that. Yeah, thank you. So the big question, though, is I wish that Caitlin would have been here, because she probably would have had a lot to say on this one, but she decided that her social life is more important than us, so whatever. There's this other thing that's made the rounds from Gearbox, which we were talking about just before we went on the show, Fred, and my love of Gearbox, and Randy, trust me, Pitchford. How about Battleborn, when we highlighted that? And now here we are with Overwatch, which is something that's kind of been in the pipeline for a while. Blizzard put out feelers about a year or so in advance, and then suddenly, oh yeah, here's Gearbox. We're doing the same thing too, guys. Look at us. And the big issue is Battleborn, Overwatch. They're both kind of competing for the exact same thing with the same title. That's what most people are saying. Why is that wrong, Raylax, since you're shaking your head? Or you're just having a seizure, I can't tell.
Fred got in a lot of trouble for saying this in front of Caitlin.
I know, and that's why I want to see if we can get it going again. So why?
Gearbox
What is the dispute here?
Gearbox do something very, very well, which is not competitive multiplayer shooters. It's co-op multiplayer shooters, Borderlands. Now, but it looks like when they started Battleborn, it was going to be for PvE, and the PvE side of it works amazingly from what I've heard. And from reading Caitlin's review, which one of you is going to link very nicely in the chat down there,
As a matter of fact, yes.
Battleborn is an amazing PvE game. But
the
they got
URL,
sidetracked.
the URL, Steven, is opnoobs.com.
I'm going to link the whole thing, Fred.
I'm just helping you find the website.
Really?
The joke there is that you don't know how to
That's a
find
joke.
So helpful.
I
But,
know more
yeah.
of the website than you. Go on, Relax.
Gearbox somehow got lost along the way and decided to stray into multiplayer. And their game is horribly, horribly balanced for PvP. And they should not even be in this title or trying to compete with this. It is not the same game. It's not balanced anywhere near the same way. They're both cartoony style graphics and they both first person shooters. That's about as similar as they get.
Okay. So that being said, though, Fred, what was the thing that you said that set Caitlin off? And by the way, I should let you know the search button doesn't work on the site.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. It actually does. I get to that offline, but
Yeah.
Actually, what ticked off Caitlin on TeamSpeak yesterday was my compliment to Blizzard and my accusations to the other studios who are piggyback riding some of the Blizzard sales by coming up with a very similar product at the same time. And I was just saying, I don't like. This was not a criticism against Blizzard. This was kind of saying I don't like the industry moving down that direction, whatever it means on the specific product. I don't like to think that moving forward, we're moving into an era where a big studio comes up with a revival of something that kind of died off over the years, Team Fortress 2, and suddenly you've got two major studios that piggyback ride off of that effort. To me, it seems counter-creative. And so I'm not a big fan of that mentality. That's what I was saying. But what got kind of things heated on TeamSpeak was the fact that Raylac and Caitlin at the same time completely negated, denied the fact that that was a fact. They wouldn't even agree.
It's not a fact.
To them, oh no, this is just a coincidence. It's a coincidence. That's exactly
Conspiracy theories.
It's exactly how they labeled it. And I found it pretty outrageous. Is it Battleborn maybe a good game, Paladins maybe a good game. But to call them a coincidence is pure bullshit.
Guys,
Okay.
did you see his face in the Twin Towers?
Sorry, Caitlin, I love
What?
you.
Didn't
Can
you
I
guys
actually give
push
a-
his
can I-
face in the Twin Towers explosion?
Can I give my piece on Overwatch?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. As the Blizzard aficionado, heck, as basically the Blizzard historian, you've even written a piece, an op-ed, on the site in the past about Blizzard. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, for me, Overwatch is exactly what I expected, and I want to give hats off to Blizzard for pulling together a technically perfect game, a beautiful game, a game that tons of people are apparently loving it. So hats off. You're gonna get a 10 across the board. Tons of people are gonna play it. It's probably going to make a little bang in the esports scene since you now control the esports scene to a large extent. So there's definitely, you covered your ass on the failure of Heroes of the Storm and the semi-success that you're gonna have with Overwatch on that. And that gets me also for me on a personal level, and I know everybody's excited, I'm excited for you guys, but for me, this is the death blow, this is the final blow, that, you go on my Twitter account, you go on my Facebook account, you go anywhere, and it's Blizzard. It's what made me a PC gamer at heart. It's World of Warcraft, it's the entire phenomenon, and seeing games like StarCraft, Diablo evolving around me as I'm playing World of Warcraft. Then I jumped into Diablo, and I'm finding a whole new nest of Blizzard nest that I'm loving. And after the 2014, what's the game called? Why is it evading me now? The cards game.
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone comes out, and I'm having a little bit of fun at first, and I think, oh, this is a cool little side game. But suddenly I'm realizing, no, it's a whole new trend. It's a whole new Blizzard culture. It's a whole new approach of money. Games. Get them out. Copy what's successful in the industry. And for me, Overwatch is the final blow. It doesn't have my heart. It doesn't have my interest. It may be a great game, but I'm turning my back on Blizzard starting the release of this game.
So basically, what is it about this game that really turns you off, Fred, as a diehard Blizzard fan? And we're going to get a link to his op-ed on the page in a few seconds.
It's the fact that I don't like the philosophy, like this new philosophy that seems to have absorbed Blizzard, that they're not supposed to. And I know tons of you are going to disagree, including Chris. People have disagreed with me, but I do believe that.
I kind of want to jump in and support you here, actually.
Because I was about to finish. Just for me, Blizzard is by definition a studio that is focused on revolutions. They're going to release a product and they are going to change the industry forever. And really, like, the face you're making is the face many make. And they'll actually argue against me and say that, Chris, you've been one of those voices. Blizzard really has never innovated. It's all in your head, Fred.
Yeah,
but I disagree because I feel like they've innovated in the sense that they might not have innovated with the genre or the mechanics, but they've always innovated in the bang that they were able to create out of a game, and by this bang, they created a phenomenon. They created and that happened not just in obviously World of Warcraft is the huge one, it's the big one, right?
I would argue even differently, though. I would argue that if the story of Blizzard lacking innovation kind of begins with World of Warcraft. Really, all they did was polish a formula that already existed. World of Warcraft
But you can't deny the StarCraft revolution among the PC industry.
StarCraft started on PC gaming.
Yeah, you can't deny the Warcraft revolution that it had on the game. Like, you can't deny those things that pertain to Blizzard.
Diablo and StarCraft are created styles of gameplay. And even then, I shouldn't even say like they created it, because RTSs had been around. But Blizzard really made incredible progress in gameplay when it came to StarCraft.
And Diablo for Dungeons and Dragons.
And Diablo. Yeah, and
StarCraft was an extension of the original Warcraft franchise.
That's true. I mean, the original StarCraft was actually alpha was.
The bottom line is, Chris, I don't see that passion anymore. I just see commercial. I see commercial products coming one after another with the same very level of standard, as technically speaking, visually speaking, as is worthy of Blizzard. But the imagination is lacking, and for me, that's a huge problem.
Team Fortress, like you said, they're cashing on the Team Fortress arena combat with that has kind of a cool, balanced play style with all these different characters. But this is just a first-person, version of an arena sort of style of gameplay that I think that they're trying to copy. And yeah, I think you just nailed it, Fred. That this is just their version of a gameplay style that's going to be really polished, probably really balanced, and work really well, but they're reinventing the wheel here. It's just shiny
Chris,
wheel.
The very title of this op-ed is Blizzard doesn't follow. And that's my point. You've lost me because you started following everyone else.
I agree with you.
Okay. Well, that's definitely an impassioned opinion. And if you want to check it out, you can actually see it down there in the chat. It's already been linked. If you haven't taken a look at it, there it is again. So you have no excuse at this point. But yeah, when it comes to Blizzard and all things Blizzard, Fred has at length told everybody on the team how much he loves the things that Blizzard puts out. No, he's not sorry. But he's a big World of Warcraft fan, big fan of Diablo. I remember I yelled at him many, many times about Diablo 3 and how boring his raids are in World of Warcraft. And that was one of the first interactions I had with him. So I know Blizzard is kind of near and dear to his heart. But that being said, there does come a point where after so many years of essentially being Starbucks, taking something other people have done and then gussying it up all shiny and pretty like, becoming Apple essentially, and making it real nice and pretty and shiny and accessible, there does come a point where you sometimes do have to kind of do a me too. So this might be one of those things. It might not. It might even stand on its own. A lot of people that have played the demo, played the beta, have said great things about it, but some have not. So, maybe it's just not your thing or their thing, but
yeah, but
I think it's
Blizzard.
A little early. Well,
That's the thing.
Blizzard
Blizzard is
can't
supposed to come
always
up
live.
with something that is such a force that it's for a period of time it becomes everyone's thing.
Best example, Star Wars. Original trilogy. Huge deal. Big thing, right? Then decades go by and suddenly George Lucas has to do something new and fresh and exciting, and he did, and we got Jar Jar, and we got prequels,
What?
and it wasn't really
talking
well
about?
welcome. The Star Wars prequels and the originals and the
I don't know what
They
he's
made
talking about.
prequels. They
yeah,
made
you never heard of
prequels.
them.
They don't
No.
exist.
Just like there
They
was,
don't exist.
just like there was never a sequel to the Matrix, right? So
What?
right, they were thinking about it, and they never came out with it. I would have liked to see at least.
They
two
felt like
more
it
movies.
wasn't good enough.
Yeah, but-
Just one was good enough for me.
That's fair. That's fair. But the end result of all of that is you can't always be a market leader. Sometimes you got to take a step back. Look at Nintendo. They left the console wars and they've carved out a nice little niche for themselves because they're not trying to fight with everybody else. This might not be a Me Too. This might just be Blizzard going, yeah, we can do that better than everybody else. Just from that perspective. So I don't think it's as bad. But it really just depends on your outlook of it.
It's not
anybody
bad.
else?
It's not
Yeah.
bad. I agree with you.
But has anybody actually played this other than it sounds like Raylac did? Anybody else play this at all?
I have.
What are your
I-
thoughts other
like
than
Like I said, it's really polished. It's really balanced. I like the characters, and I like the ultimate abilities that each character can pull off, because that's not something that's in Team Fortress. You don't have an ultimate ability. Each of these characters has an ultimate ability. Some of them have primary attacks, secondary attacks. Even like Junkrat here, he has like a bear trap. So not all the characters have different abilities. So if you have the same character all across your team, it's probably going to be a mess. But if you have different characters and the different abilities and they all mesh together, believe me, it's going to be an enjoyable game.
I'm sure that's true.
well, Eli,
No, because he's
do you
right.
have
Like it's a really diversified economy, for of a better term. Like the characters are very unusual. It's not your standard, rifles, shoot, grenade. It's sometimes you pick a character and you're like, what's up with that guy? Like you just don't get it at first. Like you realize actually he's not aggressive. You've got to strategize. So I think, and I'm sure they did a great job on that, Thomas. Like I don't deny it, and I'm sure there's a ton to it, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Tyler, it sounds like you have a question that you wanted to ask Fred directly on this whole thing. Go ahead.
I do. Thank you, Stephen. So,
Yeah.
Fred, I'm probably going to get killed by everyone for this, but I've never played a Blizzard game before, and I'm not really familiar with most
What?
of their works.
Get out!
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me finish.
Put it back in the
I'm
septic
fine
tank.
with it.
Anyways, I've committed this cardinal sin of having never played any of these games. To me, I think Overwatch looks really fun, but at the same time, I can't be disappointed by it because I don't know any of Blizzard's history. Do you think that there will be anything that will stand out to me as particularly good or bad in the game, given that I have no experience with Blizzard?
No, I think you'll love it. I think you'll love
okay.
it. It really
Great.
is it's really something personal for me. I think it's
Okay.
it probably is the best game of the year.
I would
I
just
wouldn't
say that
deny
what you
that.
see is
Yeah.
what you're going to
Eli?
get the entire
Yeah.
time you're playing. This is what you're going to see every time you play is this.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
so-
depth to it, I'm sure.
If it's
I
just Team
suppose.
Fortress 3, I'll be happy.
It's
I do
pretty
wanna
much a
say
lot
that-
like Team Fortress. So
Yeah. So it's one of those things where if you've never played a Blizzard game before, like for example, the biggest railing that I've heard about people that don't like Diablo 3, they constantly compare it to Diablo 2. I've played Diablo and Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, and I actually really like Diablo 3. I take
Oh,
it
yeah.
for what it is. I don't compare it to the previous games that were infinitely better, because it's just going to end up making you want to play the older game. It's one of those things where if you've never played one of their other games and you don't hold Blizzard, if you don't hold a company to a high esteem, not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, Fred, if you don't hold a company to a high esteem, it's going to be a situation where you play the game, and if the game is good, you're going to like the game. if you ever get a
Exactly.
chance,
Yeah.
I recommend
Right.
that you go through their older titles, and you might find not World of Warcraft because we'll never see you again. Just saying.
Yeah.
But if you've never played a Blizzard game in your life, get an old copy of Warcraft. Get an old copy of Diablo or Diablo 2.
No, it's right.
And then,
I agree with Steven.
get back
it's
to us.
Stephen, you had me at Zug Zug.
right.
Yeah.
Can we go to sleep?
We
Yeah,
should
let's
go to
go.
sleep. So,
How
that
the
being
hell
said-
can you be asking to go to sleep? It's 20 to 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I think if anybody's going to have a complaint, Raylak is going to have a complaint because he doesn't sleep ever. I don't even think he works, to be honest with you. I think
I
he
have a
just works
job,
with Red Solstice.
Ish.
Do you? Ish.
Ish.
Fair,
Ish.
fair enough.
I make beams
Grave
which
robbing
lifts
is not a
where they're
job.
supposed to be and not on the floor.
That's fair. That's fair. So, in closing, we said a lot of yeses, only a couple of nos, which is nice for a change.
Sure.
We
Good
usually
week.
get a chance to say so many nos, but we had really good quality stuff. We might have padded it a little bit by having 3 AAA titles. AAA. Anyway, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. We said yes to. Total War Warhammer, War McWarface, we said yes to. Last Fight, we said yes to. If you haven't seen the French comic, actually check it out. It's really good. It's really, really good illustration. Overwatch, we obviously said yes because we have to. The title that I can't pronounce but Eli can, we said yes to. And The Way, we said yes to, which makes it sound like we're actually joining a cult. So, we said
So
yes
good
to
week.
all of those. It's a really good week. And we said no to Age of Barbarian Extended Cut, but I would like to get them on an interview. So
Yes.
there's that.
Correct.
Wait,
So,
we
in-
said no to
in-
Link Realms?
I
we
think I'm
said
going to put him
maybe to
anyways.
Link Realms, and I think we're going to say yes to Link Realms anyway, to be honest.
I
with
want
you.
to do Link Realms.
We're going to do Link Realms. So we're going to do that. So that being said, like we said, everything that we do is totally volunteer based except for Tyler. He stays in the basement or in the septic.
He doesn't
but
have a choice. He doesn't
It-
have a choice.
he really doesn't have a choice. But that being said, we do have to end the giveaway for the Abe, and then I'm going to
Oh,
do
that's
the
right.
last couple of pitches, and then
I
we'll be
almost
done.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I forgot
So,
about that too.
Tyler, if you can spit out some of that septic surge for a few seconds, can you please tell us who or what number did you think of?
Yes, I can do that. I have the number here. My throat's just really dry, so 1 second.
Okay.
Did
Did anybody
septic,
actually
like
throw
Blizzard's
numbers
player
out there?
base.
That's the question. The giveaway is for Abe's Odyssey.
What an asshole. Yeah.
That's all whiskey, isn't it? So the numbers
I know,
1 to 100. Please start throwing numbers in the chat, even if they're random numbers. We want to give you some free stuff, guys. Anybody?
I
Tyler's
hope you
actually
don't live in
choking.
Flint, Tyler.
Tyler, you're not allowed to die. You're worth too much money. I've invested too much in that septic tank.
He's back. He's back.
Awesome. Tyler, what is the number?
The number.
He's legit gonna
The
die.
number is without
The
choking.
number is. Oh, I actually forgot to.
Wait, did anyone
It
actually
looks
vote
like
numbers?
the number that will win our prize today. That's not the Total McWarface game, but what's the name of the game they're winning again?
Oddworld.
Abe's
Oh.
Oddworld.
Oddworld.
New
Okay,
and
yes.
Tasty.
The winner of the game, Oddworld, which will be determined by the number I'm about to say. The number is between 1 and 100. A lot of people already said numbers in chat. We have someone that's particularly close to the number as well. And the number that I came up with happens to be one of my favorite numbers personally. And that number is 83. 83,
Oh,
meaning
wow.
Ultimatum saying 84 is our closest by a mile.
Well, that's good because
Oh,
Ulti probably would have held your head under the septic until you actually gave him the key.
Okay, now he has got to explain why 83 is his favorite number.
Oh,
Yes.
actually, my favorite number is 27. I just wanted things to prolong me saying the actual number.
So you lied. Do you know what happens
Yeah.
when you lie, Tyler?
Put it back in the tank.
Guys, we might need to turn off the stream for this. I'm pretty sure this breaches every rule on Twitch.
All right, let's go ahead. I don't think you can do that with a crowbar on the stream, so we should
No.
end it very early.
Wait,
So-
what?
Up tighter, man.
That being
I
said,
love that guy.
if you can bring everybody's attention back, yes, everything that we do on the site is totally volunteer based. And because of that, we need money. Not because we want to take your money, but because we want to keep giving you good, solid content. Everybody here takes time out of their day, out of their schedules, out of their work lives to make this thing happen. It's been going for about 1.5 years now. Fred is hemorrhaging money.
Not anymore. No,
Shut
I'm
up,
rich now.
Fred.
I'm rich now. So, sorry.
Shut up!
I
No,
just want to
it-
say special thanks to Heather for kicking ass and Ben.
That's right. So a couple of people, our marketing team is working tirelessly. We're cracking
Seriously.
the whip. It's an actual whip, guys. We need a new whip. So what we want you to
Whips
do
are
is
expensive.
it's as low as $1 a month. Just down there in the Patreon. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Google Plus if you can remember what your login information is, because nobody else does. If you think that we suck, this is the important part. This is the part where I want to be as genuine as humanly possible. If you think we suck and you think you can do a better job, show us. All you
Or
have
pay
to
us
do
to
is
get off
go
the
to
app.
the site. Yeah. All you
Fred
gotta
will,
do is go
Fred
to the
will
site.
step down.
Look at the content on the site. If you think you can be a writer, if you think you should be on the podcast, if you've got a show idea, if you actually want to be part of this crazy mixed up group after we're done beating Tyler like Mussolini, you can do that. And all you have to do is you have to email Fred, F-R-E-D, at opnoobs.com, Chris at opnoobs.com, me, not me, but Steven, S-P-E-V-E-N, at opnoobs.com, Paris, the city, at opnoobs.com. We gave the Eiffel Tower its own email address. That's how much we love it.
Yeah.
So seriously, if you think we suck, you can either leave a nasty comment on YouTube, or you can put your money where your mouth is, or you can put your money in our pocket. Either
Well
way,
said, Steve.
we
Well
win.
said. I like
The
it.
fact is, we get new and engaging content to share with everybody else that is a gamer. If you have an opinion piece, please give it to us. If you have an opinion, please give it to us. If you have a thought, have a good one first, and then keep the lung inside the body. That usually does help. Don't cough too hard. So, from all of us at OP Noobs, to all of you out there, like us on Facebook, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. All of that matters. We want to just keep bringing you good content, interviews with devs, op-eds, reviews of games, all that kind of stuff. So, just give us a little bit of support. So from all of us at OP Noobs to all of you, go to sleep wherever you are. Check out these games. We're going to have them up on the site as soon as we can get them written up. And in the meantime, AJ, do you want to lead us out with jazz hands? You do, don't you?
Yeah. Is it time?
Well, everybody, Fred, you want to join him with this? Because you're the jazz hands master. Fred? I think we lost Fred.
No, I'm right
Let's-
there. I'm just heading.
Okay, let's
Jazz
just take
handing
it.
or surrendering?
I can't tell. It's always the same. Wait
It's
till
the
I-
first
Wait,
time.
I think he's saying, kiss me, kiss me.